Good, good evening, everyone. Warm welcome to all the participants today on the second day of 7 days executive development program for you all. Thank you for being present here tomorrow and thank you for being here today. Your presence here makes this program a great success, and your encouraging participation yesterday is a testimony that it's going great. My sincere thanks to ICAI President CA Nehar Jambusaria, ICAI Vice President CA Devashish Mitra, Chairman of CMIB CA Hansraj Chugh, Vice Chairman of CMIB CA Durgesh Kabra, Central Council members, and all the team. Present here our honored speaker, CA Amit Arora ji, and our CMIB Secretary G. Ranganathan ji. So we are here to talk on certain subjects today. But what's more important is that we need to understand that this program has been made to fully prepare yourself to face the challenges of the corporate world. And this program is a brainchild of our committee chairman, Chugh sir, and vice chairman, Durgesh sir. We are very thankful to them that they have made this possible and given all of us an opportunity to make a difference. Today, our first speaker, CA Amit Arora ji, is speaking on CA Challenge Accepted. And I have a couple of statements to share on a challenge. Mihai, who is an American psychologist very famous for his book Flow, says, enjoyment appears at the boundary between boredom and anxiety, when the challenges are just balanced with the person's capacity to act. And another statement, cultivate your realistic optimism by combining a positive attitude with an honest assessment of the challenges that await you. Don't visualize success. Visualize the steps you will take in order to make success happens. Today, I'm sure that in the two sessions we have, first with CA Amit Arora and second with our speaker CA Anand Soni, who will be speaking on managerial and business skills. So please fasten your belts for 3 hours and come along with us on the journey of great learning. Before I invite a learned speaker, allow me to introduce him briefly. CA Amit Arora is a member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India with 20 years experience and specializing as an anchor and in TV and radio programs. He is associated with public broadcasters Doordarshan and All India Radio, and has been a frequently heard voice in Independence Day, Republic Day, Olympics, cricket commentary, and interviews of various personalities. He is a financial management specialist with the United Nations. He is a speaker who all young professionals love him a lot. Everyone loves him, whether young or old. He has been a speaker in many of the events of the chapters of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India outside India. So please help me welcome CA Amit Arora with a big round of applause. CA Amit Arora ji, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much, CA Pradeep ji, for your generous words. I'd like to thank the ICI and the chairman for the committee for members in industry and business, CA Hansraj Chugji, and the vice chairman, CA Durgesh Kabraji. Thank you to the secretary to the committee, Sri Ranganathanji, and the entire team. So this is a beautiful festival of learning, 7 days executive development program that started on the 21st of April. And day one did see two very distinguished speakers, Gulneet ji, who's a strategic HR expert, and CA Girish ji. I attended that session, and I must say that there were very good key takeaways for all of us. And in that continuity, I'm very happy to be here on day two. And I'm very sure that the newly qualified chartered accountants will be extremely ecstatic in this festival of learning. So wherever you are across the globe, namaskaram. And let me begin by saying congratulations. Welcome aboard. The CA Act came into existence in 1949, and the journey over the last 7 decades has been fantastic. It's been a glorious journey in the service of the nation, but still a lot of work to be done. And everybody eyes on a chartered accountant with all the skills and competencies that they bring as a complete business solution provider to take India further from where we are. So we will create wealth. It's essential we take care of our health too. And for us to ensure that we serve humanity to the best possible way we can, we also have to accept challenges. So when ICAI shared about conducting this session for 2 hours to hundreds and thousands of chartered accountants, I thought it was quite a big challenge. But being a CA, I said, challenge accepted. So that's the topic for me today. And the endeavor will be that we have an engaging discussion. So welcome to the session titled Challenge Accepted. It's an important date today, 22nd of April. It happens to be World Earth Day. The greetings of the day. You may be sitting in the UAE, Gulf, New Delhi, New York, whichever continent, America, Europe, Asia Pacific. Make no mistake about it, that we all have one common address, planet Earth. That is our home. So let's really pledge to the first big challenge that we have up our sleeves, and that is that we should contribute to Mother Earth. These days, it's quite a struggle, but very essential that we wear our mask. So do whatever best you can so that we can really fight the pandemic. Wear the mask, sanitize your hands, maintain social distancing, and those who are eligible, make sure that you take the vaccine too. It's important to note that coming 1st of May onwards, 18 plus people in India are eligible to take the vaccine. So do your bit. And of course, with that, we sincerely pray that the Almighty takes away the COVID virus. We take learning lessons to restore the pristine beauty of Mother Earth. With that, let's really have a look at the learning objectives of today's session. So there are 4 learning objectives. 1, what are the challenges one can possibly face in life? Why should we accept the challenge? I'll be sharing some real life stories of people who accepted the challenge and therefore they really experienced life and growth. And I'm also keen to hear your story. The session will be for 2 hours. It will be a joyful interactive session. So I really request everyone, please participate. Being a journalist, the only skill God has conferred upon me is that I can ask questions. So when I ask you a question, please express. You can respond by tweeting. You can tag me with your response at am I good? That's AMI GOOD. My name is CA Amit Arora. So the 2 requests, 1, please do participate. And 2nd, smile please. And see how important these requests are to me, that not only I have these requests for you in writing, I also have a picture to support these requests. So the first one, participate. Here, have a look at this picture. So if I were to ask you a question, say, name any 2 sources of food. You can write and have the creative juices flowing. So in addition to plants, animals, I don't mind you writing Zomato and Swiggy so long as you are expressing your creativity. So do respond. Please do respond. And the second part was smile, please. Right? That's the first big challenge we have. We are technically very solid, and sometimes we might be little miser in smiling. There's no GST in smiling. So have a look at this picture. Why is smiling important? Why is dentistry important? Because even though in this picture this gentleman is missing an eyebrow, did you observe now? He's missing an eyebrow, but the first thing you notice is his smile. That's the magic of smile. So please smile, even if you have teeth gap, that is okay. But smiling is very necessary because when you smile, nature smiles back. Beautiful nature. And nature knows what it is doing. Let's respect water, oxygen, air, forest, trees, all of this. Trust me, in a few months from now, when we will look back, the time gone by, as a society will only grow. So with these two requests, my first big question to all of you, what are the challenges one can face in life? Please respond by tweeting and tagging at am I good? Be specific in your challenge. For example, this photograph tells you interview could be a challenge. Appearing for an interview could be a challenge. Taking an interview could be a challenge. So what are the challenges you could possibly face? Write it. I assure you in next 2 hours together, we'll find ways to say challenge accepted. So let me check the questions as they come. Okay, so we've got CA Kajal, Manisha Kindra and CA Devraj saying good evening. Thank you very much. And we also have a couple of questions that have come our way. Trishti is saying, how can a CA enter communication industry and be a radio jockey? Jitendra Kumar has written a question to us, how to calm down in COVID period as jobs are limited. So that's a brilliant question. I will answer both Srishti and Jitendra. But first respond to this question as well. What are the challenges one can face in life? So like Jitendra says, how can we calm down in COVID period? Well, so one challenge, of course, right now is pandemic. So we'll look at that for sure. Okay, so as we get the responses, broadly, if you classify, the possible challenges in life could be uncertainty. So when you have Jitendra Kumar talking about COVID pandemic, 2 years back, who would have thought that the most Googled word in 2020 will not be cricket, will not be sports, will not be Olympics, but something called COVID? So uncertainty, it's a challenge. But we have to embrace uncertainty in our life. Uncertainty is my friend. Expressing could be a challenge. You may know a lot of things. A chartered accountant all these years has been a technically solid person. But in this 21st century, not only we are supposed to be technically solid, but we're also supposed to present our knowledge. We need to express. Listening could be a challenge. You attend so many webinars these days. Are we listening? Are we listening to understand? Are we listening to react? Speaking could be a challenge. So the thought could be here, how do I articulate into words and make a meaningful impact? Staying calm. If on a slight trigger I can get provoked, well, that's quite a challenge. Staying calm is a superpower. Online interviews. These days, we're living in a virtual world. So if you have to appear for an interview online, you know all the answers to the questions. But how do I set it up? How do I face the camera? How do I set up the lighting? Am I looking reasonably good? Is my tie in place? The suit in place? Could well be a challenge. Understanding technology. These days, we talk about the artificial intelligence, blockchain. How do I understand that? If most businesses today are modeled on a particular technology, then as an accountant, as an auditor, it is essential that I should also understand technology. Smile could be a challenge, but I'm very sure with that photograph in mind, with a teeth gap, one can still smile. Taking initiative, working in a team. So what if you are very good? What about your padosi, your neighbor? If he provokes you, how will you work in a team? I think one of the biggest challenge in life is facing rejection. But if I tell you rejection could be redirection, maybe that was not meant for you. And then variety of fears. We're all engulfed as a human being with variety of fears. Fear of poor health, fear of poor financial health. Agreed? So we look into all of these challenges and also as to how we can accept them. So Pankaj Pathak says, to get our first job after being CA. So Pankaj, that's a very nice response. But I can tell you, Pankaj, that while there are some jobs available, we have to now, in the present era, move away from the 9 to 5 mindset. 9 to 5 per se is not a problem. The 9 to 5 mindset is a problem. So even if you are a job seeker, it is essential that we have an enterprise spirit, an entrepreneurial spirit. If you show that and have an ownership in the business, trust me, the first job will not be a problem. And we'll come to that in detail. We've got Supriya, who says, preparing for an interview could be a challenge. Trust me, Supriya, yes, it is a challenge. But then we also want Supriya to say, challenge accepted. So on day one, if you recall, we had shared how it is very essential that you visit the website of the company that you're being called for the interview, understand the business model, right? And practice some of the answers, right? You preempt the questions. Say, for example, Supriya, you are called for an interview in an aviation company. If you have to go for the interview tomorrow or an online interview, it will be of great merit that you go to the website. So you go to the website, you check their annual report, you see their P&L and balance sheet, and you realize, looking at their P&L, that that aviation company has got 3 verticals. So the first revenue stream is sale and purchase, which means they are into selling and purchase of aircraft. The second is chartering of aircrafts. Now imagine, Supriya, you did not know the meaning of the word charter. This is the time where you will go to dictionary.com, type the word charter, and you realize, oh, charter means hiring. Just like you hire a taxi to go from A place to B, similarly, you could hire an aircraft from going from a particular position to a particular destination. The third vertical in that aviation company listed in P&L is MRO. Supriya, as she prepares, has got no clue what MRO is all about. If tomorrow in the interview he mentions MRO and I don't understand it, then you only tell me. Will he be interested in my candidature? No. So today, as I see that the third vertical in the aviation company is MRO, I should check what is the full form of MRO. Nothing, it's very simple. Maintenance, repair, overhaul. So just like my car, after a few kilometers, has to be serviced, similarly, per the DGCA, which is the regulator for the aircraft in India, after an aircraft has flown for a number of hours, it has to undergo mandatory maintenance, repair, overhaul. So if the company says we're into sale and purchase, charter, and MRO, means that they are into a holistic services of aircraft. So once you read that, and once they ask you, what's your knowledge on the sector? Have you been to our website? You can make sense by using this glossary and they will be impressed. Trust me, preparing for an interview is a challenge. And once you say challenge accepted, it's a matter of common sense. It's a matter of observation. It's a matter of analysis. I'm telling you, each one of you who has qualified as a chartered accountant is a gem. In 70 years, which other profession has produced just 300,000 professionals? It's a select elite club. And I'm telling you, my opinion, every CA is a class apart. I'm not saying it because I happen to be a chartered accountant, but it is true. The kind of training we undergo, the kind of studies we do, the kind of analytical abilities we develop, don't underestimate your talent. But where are the areas of improvement? This is what we're going to discuss today. One is the presentation, and the second is, am I wanting to experience life? Will I like to grow? Will I like to take bigger challenge? I'm asking you, Atul, who's also written that one of the big challenges is keeping away from smartphone. Atul, why would you walk away from smartphone? Today, most of your businesses can happen from smartphone. Now, I have this phone which has NFC enabled near field communication. I don't carry debit card and credit card. My debit card and credit card are synced here in mobile itself. So when I buy something from shop, I just do swapping of this only using the NFC, just the NFC. So smartphone today, and we'll probably show you a slide, is more powerful than the first signature India had in space. More powerful than the Aryabhatta satellite, right? So the point I'm trying to tell you is that challenges are going to be there. Dev Yadav says having leadership skill is a challenge. Livanshi Goyal says facing an interview is a challenge. Okay, so we agree that there could be a number of challenges. Now the question is, why should we accept the challenge? The fundamental question you really need to ask yourself: do you want to experience life or avoid life? Once you qualified CPT, you could have not given CA Inter, but you wanted to experience life. You took the challenge of CA Inter. And remember, when you put in hard work and that day when you cracked CA Inter, you said challenge accepted. And the profoundness of life was felt. And then again the next challenge, CA finals. You could have avoided life. No need. But you said, no, I'm going to experience life. Experience life. And then you accepted the challenge. So the whole idea is, in life, the profoundness would be experienced only when you are taking the next challenge. And therefore, you should really have the spirit of gratitude that you have an opportunity coming your way, which we see it as challenge. And the idea is whether we say yes or no. I will strongly encourage say yes to the challenge. Why? Because it will lead to your growth. If I today ask you, what is the basic accounting equation? All of you very quickly will tell me assets is equal to liabilities plus shareholders' equity. But if we were to make some equation for life, then based upon my experience, I would say life is equal to survival plus growth. And as you see in this photograph, growth happens at the edge of one's ability. See this young child, how he's putting his best, 100% involvement, jumping in the air, and that has resulted in water. And proudly, his mom is able to use the water. Somehow, I believe that when we were a child, we perhaps said challenge accepted much easier. And as we grow into an adult, we are engulfed with a lot of fear. Fear is necessary emotion for survival. If a tiger comes in front of me, if a snake comes in front of me, God forbid, I have to run away. That's fear. Fear is also necessary emotion. I will run away. I will not tell the tiger, as per accounting standard 10, you go away. Right? I will not say, no, as per the accrual principle, please don't eat me. I'm saying no amount of intelligence will come handy if I were to be in a dangerous situation. This is where, for survival, the emotion of fear is inbuilt into our body. So fear is also a necessary emotion. But if you want to grow, then you have to ensure that some of the fictitious fears that come in our mind, they vanish. Because I am the master of my mind, not the other way. Mind, as an organ, has this function of producing so many thoughts. You don't have to entertain all the thoughts. If as a human being, you would like to entertain all the thoughts that the mind generates, that's a challenge that nobody can accept. So let the mind produce thousands of thoughts every day, thousands of fears every day. But I am not my mind. So I will use my intelligence to ensure that some of these fictitious fears, I don't fall for that particular trap. Okay? So growth happens at the edge of one's ability. Make a note of it. And remember this child. So I hope we are very clear why should we accept the challenge? Because I want to experience life. It is truly a blessing to have this life. Why should I avoid life? I should experience life. In that process, we will fall, yes. We break, yes. We'll fail, absolutely. But then we rise, we heal, we overcome. So you'll have these array of emotions. I've interviewed so many people on Doordarshan, All India Radio. I've met so many people. All the success stories that we consider today of growth, I don't think there's any that didn't fall, didn't break, didn't fail. But then they had the courage to rise again, to heal and overcome. It's very essential that we do that. Have a look at this photograph. And I give you 30 seconds to look at this photograph. Okay, if you've had a chance to look at this photograph, here's my next question. Is this a happy or a sad picture? Please respond by tweeting. Just tag at am I good and write happy or sad. So Isha Mimani says, challenge accepted. Very good, Isha. Pankaj Pathak says, coming from a very small village, never been in a school where we have even introduced ourselves on any stage. Now we have to face interviews. I guess that's the big challenge. Pankaj, I agree, you may not have practiced earlier, but now you can thank the Committee for Members in Industry and Business. You can thank ICAI. There are so many forums in which you can participate. It is up to you, your creativity, how you create a stage where you could express, right? Very essential for a CA. Teju says it's a happy picture. Isha says it's a happy picture. I'll give you 30 more seconds to respond. Mahesh Kumar says English is a challenge. Mahesh, language can never be a barrier, but it is essential for a chartered accountant to ensure that whichever language they are wanting to communicate in, they work hard on it. So yes, language can be a challenge, but work on your vocabulary. Every day, Mahesh, one new word in your kitty. And see, month on month, how you'll become very fluent in any language because your vocabulary would have improved. So listen to others and then express yourself, cut down on the speed, speak every word with clarity, bring in pause, and see, you will be able to overcome the challenge of language being a barrier. Thank you, Mahesh, for your question. Okay, so let me see if we've got a few more responses on the happy or the sad picture. So CA Anadi Mishra says, happiness is all about power of choice. CA Harneet Sethi says, the kid is very happy, but sad for us that we aren't able to do anything for them. So Harneet, you're absolutely right. If you ask me, that is where I agree with CA Harneet. I see this as a sad picture when you look at the big picture. Come 15th of August, India will be entering 75th year of its independence. Whether India or any part of the planet, why should we have even a single child in this situation where they can't afford food and basic clothes? So it's very essential as chartered accountants, we understand that while now you have become newly qualified chartered accountants and you get congratulatory messages, but prefixing CA against your name is a huge responsibility. The objective of being a chartered accountant is to ensure wealth creation for all. So we can start by creating wealth for our own house because it's essential. And then once you have the means make sure that you bring smile to everyone. So if you really see, even India, while you and I may be very privileged to have food on our table, yet many children will go empty stomach to bed tonight. If lakhs of children are going to go empty stomach to bed tonight,
Recording
I'm
has
asking you,
started.
are you okay with that? Or do you feel that now that you have the power of being a chartered accountant, you will put in effort? You will put in effort to set up businesses, to bring in efficiency in the processes, to ensure wealth creation, because the society certainly demands that. And you have the skill set of being a complete business solution provider. So while temporarily the food is there in this child's hand, let's ensure sustainability becomes important. And that's why congratulations on being a chartered accountant, but welcome to the responsibility it brings along. Have a goal in a mind. My goal in life is fight poverty and spread smiles. It's really nice when you see a child smiling. So even if you look at my Twitter, it's been years that I've had my Twitter handle, but the picture that you see in my Twitter handle is this, because daily I want to remind myself that every child needs to have a smile. No child should struggle for food or clothes. This is why you have an inspiration to work hard. Get up early in the morning. Everybody would love to sleep, but get up early in the morning. See the beautiful sunrise. Do some exercise. Eat well. Drink well. Drink water. Be thankful. And then do whatever best you can. I'm saying if you can take care of yourself, self-love, that is also a very big thing. Imagine for parents, what will be the most important breaking news? That their son or daughter is 100% healthy. Yes? I'm saying forget the neighbor. Even if you take care of yourself and you are 100% healthy, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, job is done. If today, even in the COVID pandemic, I don't add to the health burden of the already overburdened healthcare system, that is also a contribution. At least I take care of myself. Yes? So it's essential that I rise so that I have means to lift others. Now, when we talk about fighting poverty, there are two broad categories here. One is survival, the other is growth. Remember I told you that equation of life? Life is equal to survival plus growth. Some of us might think it is just survival. No. Survival plus growth. So survival has got three components. And you remember the Manoj Kumar film, Roti Kapda aur Makan? So very essential. Bhooke pet bhajan na hoye. So you really can't do any substantial, significant work if you haven't really eaten well. So make sure that you eat well, you don't waste food, and you are what you eat. So if you will eat junk diet, well, you are not going to be healthy. So make sure that nutrition is very important. Clothes, we're very thankful to weavers. Makan house, we're very thankful to entrepreneurs. But once you've achieved that survival, you have other two levels of poverty as well that we need to fight. Intellectual poverty and spiritual poverty. So while you have become chartered accountant, trust me, when you will go to the floor, you'll realize that there's so much to learn. So build your knowledge, build practical knowledge. How do we start a business? What is business acumen all about? How can I add value for my customers, for my shareholders, stakeholders? This is all very, very important. You have to be curious. You have to ask questions. And I hope as we progress further on challenge accepted presentation, you will have lots of questions, debate, and appreciate difference of opinion. And when you talk about spiritual poverty, well, it's about living with values. So everyone, make sure that you have a set of values for yourself. That will help you to be a better expression of yourself. You'll become ethical too. Okay, what's the recipe to accept challenges? First is express gratitude. A challenge is an opportunity. CA Inter was an opportunity for you to grow from the CPT stage. CA Final was an opportunity for you to become a professional. When you play India, you transform yourself from, say, domestic cricket, Ranji Trophy to don Indian colors. You can only express gratitude. It's a choice. It's life blossoming within me. Yes? If life is blossoming within me, as you can see in this picture, there's a lot that happens. One, of course, is the internal desire of the seed to go up. But then you see the sunlight, you see the soil, there's the external environment too. Everything comes together. That is where the plant blossoms. So the key here in terms of the recipe is play to your strength. Play to your strength. Everybody has got some of the other strength. And it's essential that you reflect, observe, and identify your skill. Now, many of you will say, how do I identify my skill? Some could even say, I have no skill. I'm telling you, the Almighty is kind enough to confer upon everyone at least one skill. And that is all you require. Even if you have got two, that may confuse you. If you got one, that's good enough. But unfortunately, many of us, rather than identifying that one skill that God has conferred upon us, we will complain about the 99 other skills that were never supposed to be meant for me. So I urge you, I request you to please identify that one skill that God has conferred upon you. So sometimes sitting in solitude could actually help you reflect what's the skill you have. The simple trick is you can do that stuff for hours and not feel tired. Right? And be as specific as you can with that skill. Right? Say, for example, for Sachin Tendulkar, what's the skill? Hitting the ball. For Lionel Messi, what's that one skill? Kicking the ball. For Imran Hashmi, you know it. Everybody has got some skill. If you ask me, my skill, one skill, asking questions. I love asking questions. And can you imagine that although I did my chartered accountancy 20 years back, yet it was journalism that beckoned me. And I've done reasonably well in journalism by just having one skill, asking questions. So, be kind to yourself and identify that one skill that you have. And I would compliment all of you. You are planet Earth's first digital generation. When we were in school and college, we never thought we'll have something like this set up. And at the click of the button, you can reach across the globe. We could have never thought, forget about school and college. I'm saying even 5 years back, we could have never thought that we could have done something like this. And see how digital transformation has happened. So one big clear advantage of COVID pandemic, if we can call that way, is the digital push. So take advantage of it. You can learn so many things at the click of a button. There is no dearth of learning materials, education. The question is, are you committed enough? Look at this beautiful festival of learning, 7 days executive development program. Every evening, just relax, 6 through 9, galaxy of speakers coming over, interact, ask questions, learn, right? The next thing in terms of recipe to accept challenges is have a set of core values. Then initiate and participate. I'm very, very happy to see that very good responses are coming. A lot of questions are coming and a lot of people are tweeting as well. So CA Devyani Solanki says, happy picture. Aparna Singh says, the boy is happy but the picture is sad. Livanshi Goel says, happy picture, but at the same moment, I feel sad after looking at this picture. Livanshi, I'm very happy that you have these feelings. This is why we are humans. There are so many other beings, but all of these beings, with due respect, can never have that kind of emotional quotient as human beings can. That's why we are a little complex too, right? But once you are feeling sad overall, trust me, it'll empower you. It'll empower CA Livanshi Goel to identify her skill and commit to herself that in this life, she will work hard to ensure that she will fight poverty and she will spread smiles. Khushbu Soni says, happiness of having meal. And we've got more people writing to us, so that's fantastic. Upasna Kedia says, communication skills is a challenge. Upasna, we all can communicate. Communication is right inside us. Let me ask you, Upasna, Mahatma Gandhi, he contributed so significantly to India's independence struggle. Yes, he accepted the challenge. Gandhiji said, challenge accepted when it comes to India's freedom. Now he did Dandi March. Are you all aware? Dandi March, 1930. When he did Dandi March, Upasana Kedia, many people joined him for that journey of nearly 400 kilometers. Just last week, we celebrated that moment. I'm asking you, was Gandhiji a good communicator? Yes. Did he have social media? Did he have a WhatsApp? Did Gandhiji do a WhatsApp to everyone? Hey guys, see you at Dandi. I'm saying that with all the social media and everything today, why would CA Upasana Kedia say, oh, communication skills is a challenge? You've got so much which you can leverage. So, see how the predecessors in the times gone by would have struggled mobilizing people for a greater cause of India's freedom. We didn't do that. We didn't participate. We were born in free India. But now that we are lucky enough to see 75th year of India's independence, Upasana Kedia, can we do away with this belief system that communication is a challenge? We communicate. We can communicate. It is just a belief that is firmly ingrained in the mind that no, I am a CA, I cannot smile. I am a CA, I cannot dance. I am a CA, I cannot sing. You can do whatever. You can do whatever. Why only audit and accounts? I'm saying you can do whatever. You can run businesses. You already proved your mettle. See today, you've got chartered accountants at the highest echelons of any sector that you mention. Look at the cabinet. You've got the minister there who's a chartered accountant, holding portfolios as important as railway ministry, commerce and industry. You've got the Sherpa of G20, a chartered accountant. You've got judges, chartered accountant. You've got chartered accountants everywhere. Yes. Namita Bhatia says, how to overcome challenge of, was that GAO in work experience and number of attempts? Namita, if you really personally ask me, I really don't care number of attempts. You know, when Virendra Sehwag came to the Indian team, a lot of people said, he copies Sachin. I'm asking you, Namita, you copy Sachin? Anybody else copy Sachin? And then play that ball? When the ball comes at 150 km per hour, you copy whosoever you want to. But please help and play. You can take 1 attempt, 5 attempt or 10 attempt. Somebody who cracks the exam as tough as chartered accountant is called a CA. And it doesn't really matter, in my opinion, whether it's the first or the 5th attempt. Frankly speaking, it doesn't matter. Get rid of this belief system. If in a particular interview somebody says, no, Namita, we cannot take you because we only want to have somebody with 1 attempt. Namita, you have taken 2 attempts. Well, interview is a communication between 2 parties. You also don't want to align with somebody who's got that kind of thought, right? Doesn't suit you. That's fine. But let's not really, for me, non-issue. Attempts, non-issue. For me, the key issue is, what's the skill you have? Why should I hire Namita Bhatia? What is the skill she has? And when I say skill, I'm not only referring to technical skill, that she knows indirect taxes, she is good in GST, she is good in direct taxes. That's very essential. But what I'm looking at is an elegant combo of both technical and soft skills. What's her behavior? Does she get provoked easily? Is she punctual? Is she professional? Is she a team player? Does she bring integrity? Is she a girl with values? Can she honor responsibility? If she makes a mistake, can she own it? Saying I am wrong is a sign of intelligence, 100%. Saying I don't know opens yourself to another possibility. So I don't know is a powerful answer. But that does not mean that if I ask you 10 questions in an interview, 9 out of 10 times you say, I don't know. So happy that we've got so many questions coming. I hope that the recipe is clear to you, that we are here on planet Earth to experience life. If this is where you agree with me, you have to say challenge accepted. If you are here on planet Earth to avoid life, not to sit pretty. But why would it hurt me if you avoid life? It will hurt me if you avoid life, because when When an Anadi Mishra avoids life, I have no problem. But when a CA Anadi Mishra avoids life, it means 10 more people will go to bed tonight empty stomach. Because CA is a responsibility. No longer now, when Srishti says, I am CA Srishti, is Srishti only an individual? Now, CA Srishti is a public figure. CA is a public figure. With all the talent that you have, now you cannot avoid life, because if you avoid life, 10 more people go to bed tonight empty stomach. Not good. So whether it's CA Kanu Patnaik, whether it is CA Mahesh Kumar, if you are prefixing CA, no longer this is just your life. No longer this is just your family's life. The scope of your services has to extend beyond you and your family. 100%. Life is a beautiful adventure. Beautiful adventure. We are here on planet Earth for a limited number of years. And it's very essential that before curtains come down, because death is not a bad word. Life and death go hand in hand. It's like inhalation, exhalation. Inhalation, exhalation. Life, death. Life, death. Death is not a bad word. I think going forward, societies will probably discuss death with a little more sensitivity. There's no taboo attached to the word death as well. Death is definite. It's inevitable. And who knows, once we do a little bit more research, we may realize that death is actually a transcendence to the next level. So it's like when you play the Mario game and you finish the level 1, you don't cry when you finish the level 1. You're going to level 2. So it could be the higher level. Yes. So the point here is that we have to enjoy this beautiful adventure called life. So don't avoid life. Experience life. Okay. Here are some real life stories where you and I may get baffled, but these guys had the core values. Now, this is one of my very good friends, Deepa Malik. This picture dates back to 2012. I remember I was in Rashtrapati Bhavan that morning doing the live commentary for the National Sports Awards. And you know that every year on 29th of April, coinciding with the birthday of the legendary hockey player, India observes National Sports Day. So Arjuna Awards and Rajiv Gandhi Khel Ratna Awards and Dronacharya Awards are given. So Deepa Malik bagged Arjuna Award on that morning. And then I requested Deepa, if you could please come to my program. It was a live program that evening. So she came. And you can watch the entire interview on this YouTube link. For those who do not know, Deepa is very pretty and she was also a beauty pageant. She got married to an army person, had 2 beautiful daughters, everything going very well in her life. Till one fine morning when she was about 25-30 years of age, she had a stroke and she couldn't really move. So if you have seen this film Guzarish, starring Hrithik, it talks about a disease called paraplegia. So the doctors who tended to Deepa told her that you are suffering from paraplegia, which means that everything below the shoulder gone. Can you imagine at 30 years of age, if somebody tells you that you have a disease like that, what will happen? Is it a big challenge? Deepa Malik says, challenge accepted. So she accepted the challenge. Doctor told her that she will be on the wheelchair forever. And when I interviewed her in the half an hour program, I asked her a lot of questions. And in the end, I asked her, Deepa, have you ever wondered that one fine day you get up and you can actually move and there is no longer requirement of the wheelchair? To which she says, no, Amit, life is fun on wheelchair. When I was on my legs, I was just a homemaker, a housewife, didn't quite realize my potential. But when I came on the wheelchair, it brought me closer to the profoundness of life. I took to sports. I represented India in the Asian Games, Olympics. And as you may be knowing, at the age of 46, she was able to get India's silver medal in Rio Paralympic Games. So that's the beauty. She ended the program by saying life is fun on wheelchair. That's Deepa Malik for you. She's got 3 operations right here on the spine. She's on the wheelchair, but absolutely ecstatic, very energetic. Challenge accepted. And not only her. After Rio, I had in my studios Devendra Jhajaria and Varun Bhati also. Do you know who these guys are? Devendra Jhajaria is a javelin player. He throws javelin. And twice, first in 2005 and then in 2016, he has won gold medal in javelin for India, and he's a world record holder. But as you can see in this photograph, his one hand is not there. He was born with both the hands, but he lost one hand when he was young. He comes from Rajasthan. And when he lost his hand, you know who identified his talent to throw the javelin? His mother. His mother told me on the show. You can watch the entire show on YouTube. So all the stories I share today, if you type CA Amit Arora on the YouTube, you can find all these interviews. You can, whenever you have time, look at those interviews. I'm trying to tell you, can you imagine if he has to throw a javelin? Does it require shoulder strength? Yes. Is it a challenge to throw javelin with just one hand? Yes. Devendra Jhajaria says, challenge accepted. Now think of it. If I have to build muscles for those who are in gym, when you are doing weights, do you lift weights with both hands? Yes. If I don't have one hand, how will I do the balance with only one hand? Difficult? Imagine the kind of training Devendra would have done. Right now, because of COVID, you won't find him. But otherwise, whenever I go to Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium here in Delhi, early morning, in the evening, you'll always find Devendra doing the round, all the warm-up. He's a good friend. He is the country's first para-athlete to have been conferred the Rajiv Gandhi Khel Ratna Award. And look at Varun. Look at Mariyappan. Mariyappan won gold and Varun won bronze in the high jump. Look at their feet. They suffered polio. So, for both of them, both the toes don't come on the ground properly. So, it will be like very difficult, great difficulty. They walk. But they were able to get gold and bronze for us in high jump. See this YouTube. You know, if you type Mariyappan gold or Varun bronze in Rio, see their high jump. And see when Mariyappan got that jump and he knew that gold is his, see the smile he had. Once you say challenge accepted, it's a beautiful life. Whether you fail or succeed, who cares? At least you give it a try. I'm not saying you get attached to the results. Success and failure will happen. Failure is not a bad word. But the joy of experiencing life is absolutely fantastic. Therefore, when life throws challenge at you, challenge accepted. 100%. Arjun Vajpayee. You know, I interviewed him about 10 years back. He was 13 years at that point of time. And his accomplishment then was that as a 12, 13-year-old, he was the youngest in the world. Arjun Vajpayee was the youngest mountaineer in the world to have climbed Mount Everest. And I asked Arjun Vajpayee, in fact, I introduced him like that. So it was a live program and I introduced him that, okay, quiz question for you viewers. Who's the youngest mountaineer across the globe to have climbed Mount Everest? And I said the answer is Arjun Vajpayee. And Arjun now joins me in the studios. And he was right there. And I asked him that, Arjun, at the age of 12, 13, climbing Mount Everest? Such a big challenge? How did you do that? How did you first break the story to your parents that you want to climb Mount Everest? So he says, well, we were on a dining table having dinner. Says my father was sitting with me having dinner. I was also sitting. And my mother was serving food, making chapatis and serving food as mothers do. So he broke the story to the parents saying that, Mummy, Papa, I would like to climb Mount Everest. So Arjun says to me on the show, when he said that, hey Papa, Mummy, I would like to climb Mount Everest. You know what the response was from his mother? His mother who was serving food says, yes, I will go to the moon. Mother says, yes, I will go to the moon. Thinking that he's also joking and she was also reciprocating with a joke. But he was not joking. He had identified his skill. He loved trekking on mountains. Nobody else will tell you. Will your neighbor tell you? I'm asking you. Will your neighbor tell you what your skill is? Don't seek for external validation. You know it. It's an antardhwani. It's beautiful music. Your heart beats for it. Otherwise, how do you explain a 10, 11-year-old wanting to climb mountain? Here, if we have to climb first floor in our apartments, we're not willing to do that. We will probably take a lift. So it's an inner calling. He did that. And since then, over the last years, if you Google, Arjun Vajpayee has almost climbed every mountain that you can think of across continents. So he must be still around 25 years of age. That's the kind of accomplishment he has done. Challenge accepted. So dreams do come true. Had that possibility not been there, nature would have not incited us to dream. Nature knows what's happening. So if it's natural to dream, if we accept the challenge, then dreams will come true. Another example, you must have seen this film Uri. So, on the 22nd of March this year, the 67th National Film Awards have been announced. Last year, we couldn't have the National Film Awards due to COVID. But in 2019, I did the red carpet at Vigyan Bhavan, interviewing everybody who was conferred the National Film Award that year. And one by one, all the awardees were walking inside the Vigyan Bhavan hall. And then I interviewed Aditya Dhar. Aditya Dhar is a young director of the film Uri that won the National Award. And when I interviewed him, what was the challenge he has? You see the film, you like the film, it's a young director, your age. But sometimes we don't really discuss the challenge that people have in their life and how they accepted it. So Aditya Dhar, to me, in the interview, which was then broadcast on 26th of January, told me that he suffered dyslexia. This is the same disease that Amir showed in the film Tare Zameen Par. So he says, Amit, when the numbers came in front of me, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I could never really figure out what the numbers are. Imagine somebody, and he's from Delhi. He's got his home here in Dwarka only. I'm in Dwarka, Delhi. He told me his mother also, and family here is in Dwarka. So imagine a young child having dyslexia, not able to get sense of the figures. You guys are chartered accountant, full hold on the figures. And then he realized that that is not for him. But because he was dyslexic, but he was creative. He could conceive shots. He was wanting to kind of something in creative world. He packed his bag, went to Mumbai, was trying for work. There was challenge, met a lot of people, became assistant director, and then finally landed up with this film Uri. The rest, as they say, is history. Jazim Sharma. You must have seen Z's Saregamapa. So he excelled there. And he's a beautiful ghazal singer. So one fine day on a Sunday, I got a call from Doordarshan telling me that tomorrow you're doing this live interview with a ghazal singer, Jazim Sharma. So I hadn't heard of him till then. So I asked the producer, who's Jazim Sharma? So he says he's Ghazal Samrat. And he's won Saregamapa. And they also told me that for one Hindi film, he has sung as a playback singer as well. Deed Ishq Kiya. He had sung the Qawwali. So I said, fine, they gave me the number. And usually what I do as an anchor is that if I have to interview somebody, I usually talk to them once on phone just to see whether they are good in English, Hindi, what's the speed with which they communicate, anything specific that I could prioritize asking them. So I called Jazim. I said, hi Jazim, this is Amit this side. You're coming to our show tomorrow in our office. When I talked to him, I realized that he could not speak even one sentence without stammering heavily. I was really wondering that, he stammers so much. Will he be able to sing? But he could sing very well. Now, the next day, on Monday, 4 o'clock live on Doordarshan, I start the interview. And since I knew that he stammers quite a lot, so after introduction, I asked him to sing first. I say, Jazim, you're such a good singer. Why don't you start with some song? So he brought the harmonium live on the program. He sung a song. Brilliant. You can watch the entire interview on YouTube. And there was no stammer when he sings. After he finished the song, then I asked him the first question, what was your music journey all about? And tell us from whom did you learn? So as he tried to express the answer, he stammered badly, which was very expected. Then I asked him for one more song. Then he sang one more song for me. After we came back from that song, I asked him, Kasim, you sing so mellifluously, such melody in your voice, and you are known as the Gazarat, the Ghazal Samrat. But when you speak, you stammer. How did you accept the challenge of stammering? I actually asked that on the show. To which Jazim replied, well, when I was young, I could sing, but I never went into any concert because I could not speak. But later I realized that I should do concert because God has made me to sing. So what if I stammer while speaking? My first big skill is singing, and I never stammer singing. So it comes back to same, identifying your skill. His skill is singing. And you see him singing, the song that he sung on the program. Kuch to leher chali hai. Oh, the way he sang that line. Brilliant. So don't get bothered by any of your weaknesses. Play to your strength. That's the recipe to saying challenge accepted. These are some of the stories. I've done empty number of stories. I take great pride that, as a journalist, as an anchor, the best part is that you learn so much about life from the people who come to your show. And while you see them as a celebrity and you see the success and the growth story, what probably we do not appreciate at times is the challenge that they had. Not everybody is just having everything ideal situation. No, they have ups and downs just like you and me. The point is they are willing to fail. They are willing to experience the array of emotions and first and foremost say challenge accepted. So that's the recipe for growth. I hope that is making sense to you. Let me see what are people saying. Just read a few responses. So we've got CA Harneet saying, try and try till you succeed, enjoy life and gain knowledge in the meanwhile. Pankaj Pathak says, I guess it's not even a challenge, it's adventure and I'm willing to experience every bit of it. Brilliant, Pankaj, experiencing every adventure, and in capital he says accepted. That's the spirit. Jitendra Kumar says, sir, you come on national television. Yes, Jitendra. So I come on DD National, DD Sports, DD News. We've got M number of channels under the bouquet of Doordarshan. Manisha Sujal Puria, chartered accountant, says, if the number of attempts is not the criteria, then why we have asked for number of attempts while filling the campus form? Manisha, in my opinion, number of attempts don't matter. But I'm saying that it could matter to certain organizations. Therefore, maybe in the form, we note it down because a company may want somebody with first attempt, somebody with second attempt. So if there is an employer who has that kind of criteria, let us provide them all the information, right? I am saying it doesn't really matter. Does not matter. What matters is your skill. Who cares you're copying Sachin Tendulkar or you're copying Amitabh Bachchan? Do good acting, do good playing, do good chartered accountancy. That is all it matters. All of these things will just find their way out. Ultimately, what people will remember is, oh, Manisha Sujalpuria, or the merger and acquisition specialist, or Manisha, the internal audit specialist, Manisha, the forensic audit specialist. Who cares? Who cares whether first attempt, second attempt? I don't see merit in that. Dewey says, sir, I respect people more who gave number of attempts. So here we are, Manisha, another side of the story. Dewey is saying, I respect people more with more number of attempts. And actually that's true. Somebody told me in an interview, the police guy told me once that when we interview, we always ask, what's the biggest risk you have taken? We always ask, have you ever failed in life? And he was telling me, this senior police guy, that when somebody says, yes, we have failed, then we feel that that's a better candidate because he has experienced life and the profoundness of life much more than somebody who would probably say, no, I have not experienced failure, right? So when you say that I have taken 2 attempts instead of 1, who knows, you become a better candidate in some organization. I am saying, Manisha, whether you've taken 2 attempts or 20, it doesn't really matter. It's CA, Manisha. That is what matters. Yes. But if for somebody the attempts is important, let them have that privilege. Why should I be bothered about it? Okay, so Dewey says somebody cleared in 10 attempts and today very confident and an achiever in life. See, 10 attempts. Doesn't matter. See this guy, Surya Prakash, Surya Kumar Yadav, SKY. He scored over 2,000 runs in IPL, was knocking at Indian team for last couple of years. Finally, he got his chance. When he made his debut, he didn't get to bat in the first match. And in the second match, he opened the account with a 6. Things happen. Some a few years earlier, for some a few years there. Overall, when you look at life, nobody really remembers few years here and there, right? CA Harneet Sethi says, CA Harneet Sethi has got a question for me. She says, what has been your biggest challenge and how did you overcome it? Well, like I told you, my biggest challenge is fighting poverty. And fighting poverty both at the survival stage, roti kapda makan, and at growth stage. So you need to understand that inclusive growth is so very important. I feel concerned by the fact that people go to bed empty stomach. I feel concerned that, we still have infant mortality rate in a country. Today, if you look at COVID situation, it's a concern that we would not have something like oxygen or adequate number of beds. It's a concern. You can't blame one person or one regime. It is a sum total of our 75 years of independence. Question we need to ask ourselves, Amit Sethi, is have we done enough? Did we perform to our potential? And I'm asking chartered accountants first before I ask anyone else, because the expectation of a CA is much more. I mean, you are somebody who's understood different nuances of business better than most. After that, why would we not make more businesses? Why should we only have a handful of industrialists? It is so heartening to see that over the last few years, the startup culture has really taken off. Why can't CA Harneet Sethi become a job creator? Why should we have a mindset of only being a job seeker? I'm asking you. C. Anadi says, I'm not individual, a man who have own capacity, my line of work, or I personally believe what an association or person can achieve, an individual can never. So you are absolutely right, Anadi. But I'm saying that if I take care of my health and collectively everybody does that, then collectively we become a strong nation. After all, India is nothing but a collection of 130 crore people. Yes? And family is the smallest unit. So if I keep my family happy, that's a beautiful contribution to the overall cause of the nation. So those are the questions that came so far. So broadly, as you and I experience life, I would take it as an acronym where I will say L, life happens. Life happens means that uncertainty will always be there. You would never know what is going to happen next, right? So even as you and I speak and an IPL match is happening, you can never say whether Mumbai will win or Chennai will win or KKR will win the title this year. You never know, right? Chennai lost the first match, came back strongly to win the next 3. Mumbai with back-to-back crowns in the last 2 years are already attempting a hat-trick of titles, but you never know who may win. Yes? So life happens. And it is very good that uncertainty is there. You only tell me. If you were to know everything that is going to happen in your life, will it not become boring? Become very boring. So let life unfold and the mystery being unraveled as things come. I for life is infinite, which essentially means that every being has got infinite potential to grow. Human beings are very complex. We've got infinite potential to grow. Unfortunately, we haven't yet explored that dimensions fully. But while we have infinite potential, F for life is finite. What is finite? Our time on planet Earth. 70, 80, 90, maybe a century. But at the end of the day, on a given day, we will run out of tomorrows. Yes? E is evolution. The capability that you have today is not something that you have developed only in your lifetime. It dates back to 10,000 years. Gradually, over centuries, we have come to this particular human being today whose brain has got such capabilities that we are exploring life on other planets, and see how our Indian Space Research Organization, NASA of America, every now and then are coming with, such incredible interventions. I remember being in the garden city of Bangalore doing the live commentary for Chandrayaan 2. Prime Minister was in attendance there, and it was completely fascinating, the Chandrayaan 2 exercise. And it was success to a great extent because we were able to do a lot of maneuvers correctly. We would have wanted everything to land perfectly. Didn't happen, but Chandrayaan 3 is ready, and we'll get that done very soon as well. So evolution is happening, and evolution is happening in mind. But more importantly, where we need evolution is compassion. So Once you understand LIFE, the core values you need to really have in sync with LIFE is courage. So as life happens, as uncertainty happens, you need to have courage. We need to be brave. Very essential that we are all very brave. We are committed to our task. We are conscious of our being. We are conscious of our mortality. And we are evolving as a compassionate being. So those are the core values which will help you in your life. When I say courage, a lot of people think that courage means, okay, I'll go to the border, I will probably shoot someone. That's not just the way to display your courage. Courage doesn't always means to roar. Sometimes it is just a quiet commitment to say, I'll try again. So be courageous. Life will throw its ups and downs, and trust me, the virtue of courage will come very handy. Everybody can have their own set of affirmations. Some mantra that works for you. Like I can share the secret, one mantra that works for me. If ever I feel very low in life, one, that's absolutely natural. Not that you're going to have high energy frequency at all times. Sometimes, you will feel low. So the mantra that works for me at that point of time, I often remind myself saying these lines that I do not want anything outside His will. I do not want anything outside His will. And in His will, I have nothing to fear. So beyond the point, you will realize that it is not in your hands. So you have to surrender. You have to accept. Yes? Accept. Okay. Now, when you talk about chartered accountants being complete business solution providers, there's a paradigm shift over the last few years, and certainly post-pandemic. Earlier, we used to think when we say bottom line, we could only think about profit. Well, if you look at bottom line from a limited prism of profit, it will not work. And that's why now even SEBI says triple bottom line concept, where businesses have to talk about profit, people, and planet. So we have to focus as professionals on inclusive growth. Look at this picture. You have greenery, eco-friendly, brain, technology, all together. And look at this child, beautiful smile, inspiring us to smile also. But then have to really agree with the reality of India that still you would have the girl child or the woman folk primarily in every household, particularly in rural areas, traveling kilometers to fetch one bucket of water. While you and I sitting here in the urban centers may enjoy all the freedom, all the amenities, but we are not going to grow unless it's an inclusive growth. So I would like to encourage chartered accountants, especially the newly qualified ones. Some of the new scopes that you have for work, one, agriculture. You've got India's 41 now. So it's essential that you make financial statements of the agriculture. Then only banks will be able to help the farmers access credit. Second, of course, is sports. So you're looking at IPL match today. If I ask you, are you aware of the legal status of Kolkata Knight Riders? Are you aware of the legal status of Rajasthan Royals? Have you ever seen P&L and balance sheet audited of the franchise? Are they making profits or loss? When I hire a particular cricketer for a particular season, say for 3 years, say for 10 crore rupees, and after one season, I release that player, and that player goes to some other franchisee, can I consider that as a capital asset? If I ask you today, who's your favorite cricketer, and you tell me Mahendra Singh Dhoni, I'm asking you, are you aware, for those who want to make a career in direct taxes, what ITR form does Dhoni fill? If I ask you that BCCI has just come up with a new contract, say with Skipper Kohli and Rohit and Jasprit Bumrah with the A+ contract, and they are going to give them, say, 7.5 crore rupees every year. So the 7.5 crore rupees that Virat will get to don Indian colors per the contract for a year, what is that source of income? Is that salary? Is that house property? Is that PGPP? Is that capital gain? Is that other sources? I'm asking you. And therefore, the point I'm going to tell you is, that make sure that now that you have qualified as a chartered accountant, you understand real life application of all your knowledge and integrate it with environmental, social, and governance. So when we talk about the inclusive stuff, real life application plus ESG. So a lot of people have talked about cracking the interview as a challenge. I will not be surprised that they ask you about ESG concept. I will not be surprised they ask you, have you heard about integrated reporting? I will not be surprised if they ask you about environmental factors like climate change, biodiversity, water, energy, efficiency, carbon intensity. It's World Earth Day today, right? Social. I'll not be surprised they talk about issues like child labor, equal opportunities, equity, right? They may ask you, have you taken vaccine? How do you see the distribution of vaccine? Should they be priced differently between center, state, and private hospitals? Should they be with one price? They would like to see. They would like to understand you. If you say that I have no opinion on the pricing of vaccines, well, I'm not interested in you then. I can hire anybody else. Only knowing debit what comes in, credit what goes out, doesn't really cut much ice, right? Similarly, the G in ESG stands for governance. Business ethics, very critical. But once you have that recipe in mind, where I mentioned that have gratitude, identify your skill, I also said have a set of core values. If you have a set of core values, you will be an ethical person. No matter what dilemma may happen in life, you'll be able to choose which way to go because you are already committed to a set of core values. Compliance is so very critical. And then you've got the shareholders' democracy. And I hope you are now comfortable with that word ESG. Jitendra Kumar says, Rohit and Bumrah getting 7.5 crore up to my best knowledge. So that's right. So my question, Jitendra, was which source of income? 7.5 crore is which source of income for, say, Rohit, Bumrah and Virat? Anadi says, what should be the priority of life? Well, the priority of life, Anadi, should be experiencing life itself. It'll be quite an irony that for the 80, 85 years that we get, we are not able to say challenge accepted and we live a very limited life. So if we have a choice to experience the infinite, why should C.A. Anadi Mishra only reach to level 2, 3 if he can go to further levels too? Yes? Would you not like to experience those levels? That's a priority. So the priority of life is experiencing life. And for that, you have to say challenge accepted. Pankaj says, is writing in resume that I got exemption in 5 subjects in CA final exam is okay? Pankaj, it's absolutely okay. It goes to show that you have got exemption and perhaps you are much closer to cracking it than somebody who doesn't have exemption. You can write whatever. The point is you have to be confident in communicating how it benefits you, right? Getting an exemption is a big thing, which means at least for that paper, you were able to score beyond the threshold marks, 60 or whatever it is. You can perfectly write that. See, remember, Pankaj, there is no hard and fast rule when it comes to soft skills. You can go whichever way. Remember that slide when I asked what are the sources of food? So while plant and animal is absolutely fine, but if somebody says Zomato and Swiggy, and the interviewer is having a mindset to hire somebody who's tech savvy, you never know that those two answers could actually also be considered right. So the point is, we are interested in you. C.A. Pankaj Pathak. We are not interested in your neighbor, that you do rote learning and try to give an answer that is not very natural to you. We would like to see you blossom. We like to see your response to a situation. And then based upon my requirements, whether I want some more risk-savvy person or less risk-taking ability person, conservative person, I will finally choose the person. There's nothing wrong or right. It is just that I have a certain parameter in mind. I would like to know what are your parameters. If they both match, then between us, we can decide to come on board. This is all it is. Okay. So let me take questions of Nandan Gupta now. So Nandan says, due to uncertainty, life is full of joy. Otherwise, it will become dull if everything is certain. Brilliant, Nandan. Excellent. So if you've just tuned, you can always share your thoughts at am I good? And I'm very happy that we've got so many reactions coming. Aditi Boom writes in, Sir, challenge accepted. Brilliant, Aditi. I cleared my CA final in 7th attempt. Lucky 7, Aditi. Brilliant. But sir, by number of attempt not given equal right as first attempt. Well, why would you want it that way, Aditi? You go ahead and, you will have so many opportunities. Why? I mean, so I don't think society will ever give 7th attempt equal weightage as first. If the society doesn't give that, that's fine. You continue your own path, right? That's how it is. Like, for example, in cricket, usually they will make batsmen as a captain. Usually bowlers get a surrogate behavior. That's how it is. Batsmen usually get the captaincy. So Jitendra Kumar says, me and my two friends, Megha and Gaurav, are also watching the session and we have accepted the challenge of gaining the most out of it. Thanks for mentoring. Jitendra, brilliant. And your friends, Megha and Gaurav, salute. This is brilliant. I'm so happy that many of you are saying challenge accepted. This is fantastic. Let's see some more questions. Ameya Kavle says, he also stammers. So Ameya, I'm very happy that you're sharing that you stammer, because when you say challenge accepted, half the battle is won. Stammering is a challenge. If I kind of avoid life, and if I sit to myself, like Jazim Sharma says, I didn't go for concerts earlier in my life, thinking, how will I speak? Before he realized, no, I am there to sing. And he won the Saregama. So, Ameya Kavle, thank you for sharing the question. He says, should he be open about it in interviews? Absolutely. Absolutely. Why? Ameya Kavle, I'm asking you, how many people in India would be born deaf and mute? For those who cannot hear, cannot speak, deaf and mute. Many? Now, if there is somebody who's deaf and mute, if they undergo a series of operations and they can now speak, even if they stammer, they can now speak, will they say yes to that operation? Absolutely. They will be absolutely ecstatic, even if they were stammering but still speaking. I am saying, even if you stammer, why would you like to hide it in the interview? And have you seen that film, Ranbir Katrina? What was the name of the film? Ranbir Katrina, where both of them stammer. So while Ranbir stammers, and it's very prominent, Katrina does not stammer till about half of the film is over. Her first stammering occurrence happens around mid-film. The reason being, stammering is linked to the nervous system. I am no doctor, but I can tell you that nervousness to an extent is fine. It means that you want to do well in life. But once you're not able to overcome nervousness, then you go blank. You stammer. Right? Everybody can stammer. So Katrina also stammers in that film when she also gets worked up. So my request will be very okay with any of the perceived shortcoming. The society can perceive so many shortcomings, right? So what? That's absolutely okay. In an interview, you can actually say that. And trust me, once you're able to overcome your nervousness, you will find that you're not even stammering. And I remember I had one of the eminent neurologists on my show once. And we were discussing how to overcome stammering. So I asked Dr. Saab, you are such a big neurologist, a neurologist from AIIMS had come. So I asked Dr. Saab, how do we go about improving stammering? So to which the doctor said that this small exercise, he did that live on the program and I also did that with him. So you can all do that. Not only Ameya Kavle and his friend, anyone who wants to get more clarity while speaking, because we all stammer. All of us stammer. We speak fast. We kill the words. We don't speak with clarity because we are in a hurry. So pause and practice clarity, right? So here's the small exercise. Just take this pen and put it like this and then speak. ESG, environmental, social, governance. Now what this will do is it will put stress on your vocal cords and this will enable you to speak with clarity. It's like physiotherapy. If after a fall my hand is not working, what does physiotherapy do? Well, ultimately the hand has to work. So in physiotherapy I do like this and the muscles get back to their original way. The nerves start functioning. Similarly, vocal cords have the ability to speak. So accept, do exercises and perfectly fine. Manjeet Kedia says he took 20 years to complete CA. Congratulations, Manjeet. And is now 42 years, having 15 years of industry experience. He wants to know whether he should try campus or go to practice. Well, Manjeet, for sure try campus. The committee for members in industry and business is doing fantastic job, especially last 1 year, notwithstanding COVID pandemic. Ranganathanji was telling me that over 5,000 people, have been interviewed and placed. So do try. And then once you get to some option, then you can see what is it that you're more close to. It all depends upon your choice, your finances, your area of expertise. So it's purely up to you. If you want to go to practice, then practice, of course, is the most fulfilling part of being a chartered accountant. But then it's very necessary that you have a skill that people would be very happily paying you dollars for. Abhinav Garg wants to know whether hardworking is a skill. Well, Abhinav, hardworking is essential, but ultimately we need a skill which is also unique, right? So you'll hard work doing what? Some research, accounts, audit, setting up business, all that. So hardworking is a cross-cutting theme. Devraj Lanka says cricketers show income from professions. That's right, Devraj. The 7.5 crore or whatever amount cricketers get, that is PGBP. So for those who think it's a salary, get in touch with the direct tax expert and ask them why it's not a salary. Srishti is asking how to identify real calling. As I said, Srishti, it's an antardhwani, right? It's like a heartbeat, and you will know it till the time you can't figure out whatever you are doing. Just do it with 100% intensity and involvement. And trust me, there will be a day very soon when you realize the importance of reflecting upon your own experience, that you will be able to identify your real calling. Anchal wants to know how to analyze whether an organization will help in professional growth. Well, Anchal, good question, because in an interview, even as the interviewer wants to know the skills of the candidate, it's two-way process. So even Anchal has got every right to know more about the organization. I think that you are also judging the representatives of the organization, and when they give you an opportunity in the interview asking, Anchal, do you have any questions for us? You can actually ask this question, that what are the professional growth opportunities in your organization? And if you are happy with their answer, then that will help you to take your decision whether you want to get associated with that organization or not. Okay. Now, we talked about a lot of people, even if you look at chartered accountants, that see Nainal Kidwai, she's been a banker for years, and now she's part of the India Sanitation Coalition. I had a chance to work with Naina as well. I'm also part of the jury that gives away the national awards for good work in sanitation. In fact, we had a meeting yesterday only where we have shortlisted the awards for this time. So I'm saying that when we talked about ESG, this environmental part, water efficiency, energy efficiency, carbon intensity, in the same breath, sanitation is very important. So look at this piece of news. 2 workers die while cleaning septic tank. As a chartered accountant, are you okay with that? Why would we not think about sanitation? So when we said Swachhta Abhiyan, in 5 years from 2014 to 2019, we were able to make every district and village ODF, open defecation free. But now we have to go to the next step, ODF plus, where we're talking about fecal sludge management, FSM. The question is, why would we not know, say, about the act called the Prohibition of Employment as Manual Scavengers and the Rehabilitation Act? Why would we still have manual scavengers? We've got so much of technology. This time, when the 67th National Film Awards have been announced, there's a National Award-winning film. It's a children's film, Kasturi, where not only adults, children are also washing the, doing all the work that they probably are not required to do, the cleaning work and things like that, putting their own life in dangers, entering the septic tank without adequate measures. So the question is that we are looking forward to chartered accountants of coming up with innovative solutions. Technology can be leveraged. Look at this. If you don't accept the challenge, then depression could happen. Extremes of suicide could also be considered. So every now and then, if you look at the papers, you will find somebody or the other committing suicide. Or when you look at this headline, man kills self by jumping before metro, I'm asking you, is getting depressed or committing suicide a solution? Well, it requires common sense for us to say absolutely not. But could those thoughts occur to me? Well, that can happen because I told you the mind is an organ, and the job of mind is to have thousands of thoughts in a day. So mind is doing its own duty. Mind is doing its own duty, coming up with thousands of thoughts. Some could be positive, some could be negative, some could be fictitious fears. The idea is all my learning in school, college, chartered accountancy will only come handy when I am still able to be a better expression of myself in the face of adversity. When everything is going right, then maybe 9 out of 10 people can stay calm. But when things are going wrong is where we would like to have more and more people staying calm. So let's really pledge that we will fight suicide. We will fight our depression, come out of it. And I will strongly recommend you to listen to good music. A lot of times the impression is that chartered accountants are technically very strong, but do they connect with the arts? Very necessary. So it's almost a different part of the brain, left brain, right brain. Connect with the arts in your free time. Listen to music. If you are interested in singing, painting. And when I say singing, doesn't mean that you have to be a Kishore Kumar or a Lata Mangeshkar. Even a bathroom singer. And these days you've got such beautiful karaoke bottles. So you can request your friend and you can sing a duet too. And when you're singing a song, it'll also help you increase your vocabulary, right? You will know how to pitch, right? Say, for example, I can give you a demonstration. Do you recall that Manoj Kumar song? Main na bhulunga, main na bhulungi. So you sing like that. See, I'm not a singer, but you sing. Main na bhulunga. In the duet, the other girl sings. Main na bhulungi. Then you again change your voice. Main na bhulunga. She sings. Main na bhulungi. The next time, try to sing with a smile. Main na bhulunga. Or try Manoj Kumar. Main na bhulunga. When you do this, all of these weird things, it really helps blood circulation, right? And then remember the lines. Main na bhulunga in rishton ko, in kasmon ko, in rishte naaton ko. When you're doing this, you are pitching your voice. You cannot just sing like that in rishte naaton ko. You have to bring it. Yes or no? Point is that when you are singing a song, it'll help you to know what pronunciation, what pitch you have to do. And whether somebody enjoys or not, at least you will enjoy. Yes. And these are beautiful lyrics. Very nice lyrics. So if you look at this song, it says, Main na bhulunga, main na bhulungi, in kasmon ko, in vachnon ko, in rishte naaton ko. Then you go forward, it says, Jeevan se saanson ka rishta, main nahi bhulungi. Such beautiful lines. See how somebody using their creativity would have written these lines. Brilliant. In that chronology, I will like to share which is my favorite film. My all-time favorite film is Sila Samayangalil, the Tamil film directed by Priyadarshan. I had a chance to interview him and know more about him. And in fact, I actually watched that film, Sila Samayangalil, in Goa a couple of years back in the International Film Festival. Brilliant film. So before I saw this film, my favorite film was Sholay. My favorite film was DDLJ, Three Idiots, Jaane Bhi Do Yaro. But I'm naming these films to tell you that Sila Samayangalil now is my first topmost film, ahead of all of these other films that I mentioned. Now, I would request you to see this film. It's a Tamil film, but you can watch it on Netflix with English subtitles. The reason I want you to see this film is that I'll give you the short story, what the film is all about. As you can see, the protagonist here is Prakash Raj, brilliant actor, the first one in the queue. So what happens is that he goes to this laboratory to get the HIV/AIDS test done. Now, can you imagine in India, the first HIV/AIDS case came in 1986. And that is when we had NACO coming with the first phase of the HIV/AIDS program. And then subsequent decades, we came with the second, third phase. But you may have seen the ad of Shabana Azmi wanting to make people aware that don't have any social stigma attached to the HIV/AIDS. But still, 36 years later, still there is stigma attached to HIV/AIDS. So the film starts where Prakash Raj, the protagonist, is sitting with his wife and he has been advised by the doctor to get the HIV/AIDS test done. Next morning, he goes to this diagnostic center and he gets the test done. You see this huge queue of people behind him. They have also come to the diagnostic center to get the HIV/AIDS test done. Now, once the sample is taken in the morning, the nurse says, now we'll give you the report at 5 in the evening. Then only you'll come to know whether you are HIV positive, which means you have HIV, or you are HIV negative. Now, After giving the sample, most of the people go to their respective offices, but about 10 people decide to stay at the diagnostic center because they have no other work. And they are also having a lot of fear that because they had committed some possible scenario which could mean that they can get HIV, so they decide to sit in the diagnostic center itself. Now, the clock ticks by 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, noon, 1 o'clock. Now, around 1, this gentleman who's right behind number 2 on the queue is a very jolly character. All these 10 people are sitting with a lot of social distancing, not talking to each other because they are a little embarrassed that they could be positive for HIV. But the second person in the line, he's a jolly character. He speaks to everyone. And finally, because they're losing patience at 1 o'clock, not wanting to wait till 5 to get the report, this person, the jolly character, goes up to the nurse and says, is there any way that the 10 of the people who are sitting here, they can get their report a little early? So the nurse, she's facing some financial crunch at her place. She gets a call from her mom that the landlord had come. The landlord said, if you don't bring the money today evening, I will throw you out. So the nurse says, yes, I can get the reports for the 10 people by 2 p.m., just in 1 hour, if you can pay me some money. So she charges a very exorbitant amount. But this guy says, I don't have that kind of amount. So what he does, he convinces all the 10 people who are waiting that please contribute some money and I will get the report by 2 p.m. itself. So he collects about 7,000 rupees. He gives it to the nurse. And the nurse says, I will let you know the results by 2 p.m. You now not have to wait till 5 p.m. Now, I'm not going to tell you the climax, but I'm telling you, beautiful film. Beautiful film. I think in 36 years, the awareness on HIV AIDS on one hand, and just this one film by Priyadarshan, and I'm telling you, the awareness on HIV AIDS has got 10 times. And that social stigma that exists in the society is not only towards HIV positive people. I'm saying even when Corona happened last year, if somebody was declared Corona positive, we had social stigma. Today, when somebody says, I have had 5 attempts, 7 attempts, social stigma. Let's not have these social stigmas. Let's get rid of it. See this film. The last scene will move you. The last scene will move you. Brilliant acting. This is cinema. I remember when I asked question to Priyadarshan, I said, Priyadarshan, when you make Hindi films, you make only comedies. You know, the De Danadan and Hera Pheri with Akshay and Sunil Shetty and Paresh Rawal. But when you make cinema in Tamil, you make such serious cinema. Priyadarshan says that the Hindi audience hasn't quite matured for serious cinema. So I give them only comedy. But trust me, some of these films down south are absolutely fantastic. That's why they win national awards as well. Brilliant film, Sila Samayangalil. So please watch that because I want you to have, you should utilize your time while you are right now at home. You become chartered accountant. I want you to work 12 to 14 hours every day. I want you to be taking care of your health. I want you to have interest in reading, writing, so that when you go out there for an interview, for group discussion, for debates, you can have your own mind. No rote learning. You can have your own mind. There is no right or wrong. Nothing right or wrong. Yes, I want to see you. We're interested in you. We know you are technically competent. That's why you become CA. In the interview, we're not checking your technical competencies. You become CA. We're interested in you. Yes. Now, leveraging technology, I want to ask you, did you ever go live on Facebook? Just respond on Twitter at am I good? Yes or no? And if it's a yes, was it an easy exercise? Will you request or encourage your fellow new chartered accountants to conduct a Facebook live session? How do you see the advantage of Facebook live from business perspective? And if the power is immense, do you think for those who have not yet experienced it, they have not said challenge accepted? They're looking at technology as a challenge while we can leverage technology for the welfare of humanity. So anybody who's done Facebook Live, just write your experience. If you think you are scared of technology, not knowing how to use the Facebook Live, whether you'll be able to use it, express that as well. But as you can see here, whether it is live tutorials, whether it's your product launch, whether you want to host or broadcast a live event, interview an expert, Q&A with your customers, seeking feedback, holding a webinar, sharing news, announce a sale, organize a party. Facebook Live. It all started with Twitter, with Periscope, where live streaming started. Then YouTube came with live streaming, and finally Facebook. Can you imagine the power each one of you have as the first digital generation? Click of the button, and across the world, people can hear you real time. If you do not leverage it, your problem, not the technology. So I request you that not only you are powerful, but with technology being a multiplying factor, you can really leverage your power n number of times. So identify your skill, leverage technology, right? Look at fintech. Fintech is finance plus technology. Look at legal tech, legal plus technology. Logitech, logistics plus technology. Trade becoming so seamless now because of Logitech. Edutech, Meditech. In COVID, we are not now asking patients to come to the OPD. We have made alteration in the relevant act. And even if the doctor tells you the prescription on WhatsApp, that is legally permissible prescription under the act now. We didn't see that earlier. We were talking about e-medicine, telemedicine, but it never had the legal endorsement. But with COVID, the legal endorsement has come. And therefore, I say sometimes in the face of an adversity, some good decisions are also taken, which otherwise would have not been taken. Right? So I want everyone to become comfortable, this newly qualified generation of chartered accountant, to become comfortable with all of this technology. Jitendra Kumar says, I've done Facebook Live for a New Year event, but I'm no more on Facebook. Aditi says no. Juhi says no. Jitendra says no. So all I'm saying is that these are the tools, right? It's purely up to you how you use your tool. No tool is bad. You cannot say knife is good or bad. It is for you, whether you want to kill somebody, right? Or you want to cut a tomato and a cucumber and eat a good sandwich. Knife is only a tool. So the phone was invented by Graham Bell. How has the evolution happened between Graham Bell and now? Well, phone is now just a computer which can call. Look at businesses which have not adapted and how they have just wound up, right? Nokia, when it started out, had a great market share in mobiles, but Nokia could not adapt to the fact that you can have a smartphone which can be a computer, right? And that's where Samsung and iPhone took the market, and Nokia almost had to go out. Last month, as big a player as LG has moved out of mobile space. So the point I'm trying to tell you is that technology is here and you've got these big players. It is up to you how you leverage technology. Having this mobile in hand, having this laptop right in front of you, having internet and having Aadhaar, you don't need anything else. Businesses is thriving because of this beautiful conglomeration of all of these things. If you and I are not making business out of it, that's our problem. So when you look at COVID appropriate behavior, it is not just washing your hands or putting a mask. I think one of the most COVID appropriate behavior is also becoming more and more comfortable with new digital experiences. So if I ask you, how many of you got Aadhaar number? And second, how many of you got DigiLocker? Please type your response by tweeting at am I good? You've got Aadhaar number, so say yes, Aadhaar, yes. You got DigiLocker, say DigiLocker, yes. You can say both yes, or you can say Aadhaar, yes, Aadhaar, no, DigiLocker, yes, no, whichever way. Just respond by tweeting at am I good? I give you 30 seconds to respond. Okay, Srishti says how to become radio jockey along with CA job. Srishti, you are only going to define your limits. Creativity has no limits. If you want to become radio jockey, nobody can stop you. In fact, today you've got so many options. Like I am a radio jockey with All India Radio. Today you've got so many other frequencies, right? Not only that, you've got a lot of community radios happening as well, right? So what you need to do, Srishti, is that you need to reach out to whichever radio station you are interested to work for, apply them online. They will invite you for audition. Meanwhile, make sure that you are brushing up on your vocabulary, the command on the language, and also your general knowledge. So like when I did the program the other day on Tuesday, you asked for it. So we are always starting the program by reading the hourly headlines. So if I'm reading the headline, it's important that I know what is going on. So if I'm reading that, okay, the fourth phase of West Bengal Assembly elections will happen tomorrow. The COVID situation in the capital is this, right? So and so becomes the new premier of Cuba. In IPL, these teams are going to play. So make sure that you are practicing to the best of your ability. Apply for the audition. Certainly they're going to call you. And then go for the audition and be your natural best. Every voice is unique. Let me add Srishti, when you are speaking normally with your family or friends, but when you speak on the microphone, the voice differs. Similarly, for those who are interested in becoming television anchor or news reader, you may look a certain way normally, but when you are on the camera, you look another way. So unless you've gone for the audition, you would never know whether you are photogenic enough for being on TV, whether your voice is broadcast worthy or not. So make sure that you go for the audition, because then only you would know your suitability for a particular position, right? And radio is a very powerful medium. All India Radio started in 1920s. Doordarshan came in 1959, 15th of September. And when satellite television came in the 90s, a lot of people wrote obituary that radio life is over. See, radio has only grown. So radio still is my first love. I may read news on Doordarshan for hours, but trust me, when I do 1 hour, 2 hour on radio, that just helps me unwind. It is still my first love. So all the best to you. Devraj says, what should we read before campus? Devraj, read anything you can lay your hands on, right? Read your daily newspaper and have your own opinion. Poonam Jaju says she got rank 16 after a gap of 10 years belonging to an orthodox family. So see, here's another case. 10 years she took, but then Poonam now is All India rank 16. Perfectly fine, Poonam. The question is not this now, rank 16 or 10 years. The question is, will Poonam Jaju identify her skill and fight poverty and spread smiles so that at least 1% less goes to bed tonight empty stomach? This is what it is. We're more concerned about the outcome. Whether you get through in first attempt, 10 attempt, this, that, doesn't really matter. What is it that you're doing? What process you are following? Are you healthy yourself? And what impact are you making in the society? More concerned about the outcome. Okay? Okay, good. So let's see whether people have written a few responses. So I have Gobind saying, yes, I have both Aadhaar and DigiLocker. Devraj also says yes for both. Harneet says yes for both. Okay, Kishore says yes for both. Okay, we've got Megha Upadhyay who says yes to Aadhaar, no to DigiLocker. Megha Upadhyay, breaking news. That's an incorrect answer. Anadi Mishra says yes to Aadhaar, no to DigiLocker. Anadi Mishra, breaking news. That's an incorrect answer. You know why? Megha Upadhyay, it is not possible that you have an Aadhaar and you cannot have DigiLocker. Now this is what I'm trying to tell you, that we have to become tech savvy. The moment you have Aadhaar, immediately, simultaneously, a DigiLocker is allotted to you. The fact that you're not using Megha Upadhyay DigiLocker is altogether a different story. Anadi Mishra, your DigiLocker is there. Locker is there. You are not using it. Yes. So anyone who's got an Aadhaar has a DigiLocker. This is the website. So Megha Upadhyay, Anadi Mishra, I would request you to please go to digilocker.gov.in and you follow this process. You will use your mobile to sign in, type your Aadhaar. You will get an OTP, another layer of security, and then you have access to your documents. So then you can create your Aadhaar, PAN, driving license, put all of those digital copies in your digital locker, which is already opened. And after that, say you are driving Mega and traffic cop stops you and he says, RC dikhaiye, right? Vehicle RC, show me the RC. You don't have to pull out the RC in hard copy or just the DigiLocker. And see the first sentence, DigiLocker issued documents are legally at par with the original documents as per the Information Technology Act. So you have a document wallet there. This is to empower citizens. Okay. So I hope that you have understood this. So the point I'm trying to tell you is that become more and more tech savvy. So DigiLocker, there are 4 parameters. This is known as India Stack. So when you go for the interview, they may ask you this. So you have a consent layer stack, which is owned by RBI. You've got a cashless stack, which is owned by the NPCI, paperless by the Department of Electronics, Government of India, and then presence-less is Aadhaar, which is the Unique Identification Authority. I've shared this link, see Amit Arora Digital India. For those who are interested in DigiLocker and eSign and UPI, Power of Billion Cubes, you can watch the 1-hour live program I had with the stakeholders of all of these people. Okay. Will technology replace our jobs? 100%. Should I upgrade my skills? Absolutely. Most importantly, change the mindset of 9 to 5 p.m. job. As we conclude, I would urge you to become job creator. I would salute anyone who can become job creator. And trust me, when you earn 100 rupees from your skill and competency, the fragrance is far more beautiful than earning 1 lakh rupees as salary. That will also convert your stress to smile. Thank you for all the questions. These are the skill set you should have, the combination of technical and soft skills that I had mentioned. So accounting plus analysis, budgeting plus brainstorming, compliances plus communication, digitization plus decision making, evaluation plus ethics, financial statement analysis, which will be the topic for day 3 when CA Rajiv Hira and CA Jaiprakash Agarwal ji will join you. How do we analyze the financial statement? And soft skills of follow-up and feedback, very essential. My story is also the same. When I stand on Vigyan Bhavan doing the show with President, Vice President of India in attendance or the Prime Minister, not that it's not a challenge, but I say challenge accepted. Right? This is Chetan Sharma, who's the chairman of the selection committee of the Indian cricket team. He told me a beautiful story. He was asking me, Amit, why do 5 selectors sit to pick the cricket team? The criteria is not the performance. Criteria is behavior. If you get run out, will you still be professional? Right? If you go out and travel outside, will you be a good ambassador of India? Those are the factors also considered before they give you a call for Indian team. And once again, reiterating on Earth Day, it is not just you and I, the human beings. Planet belongs to everyone. Summers are coming. Make sure that you feed sparrows with adequate water. This will only ensure that we have a far more just and equitable climate. So even as I say thank you with these beautiful mangoes for you, let me just say we are not perfect. We are work in progress. We will continue to make mistakes. But that doesn't mean that we doubt our ability. Let's be kinder to ourselves. I was wrong is a sign of intelligence. Acknowledging I don't know opens up the possibility to know something new. You shine differently when you accept the challenge, and you are really happy. That glow is very palpable. So accept challenge. Anytime any challenge comes, see it as an opportunity and say, challenge accepted. Have a blessed journey. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Amit ji, for taking us to this very beautiful journey in 2 hours' time. So many of our members from abroad are attending, and I have received almost 50 messages saying that they have also found so great value. They are experienced 15 years, 20 years, but they have been mesmerized with your presentation. Students are already there because I see their engagement on this chat box of ours and also on the Twitter. So many tweets got added to your account today. And saying that I was wrong is a sign of intelligence is a very powerful statement you ended with, because that's what allows us to make mistakes and learn. And that's very important for a growth mindset. You talked about beliefs, strong beliefs. The message of you is important. Very beautifully, you touched upon the concept of connected leadership, where an organization moves away from CSR and is a complete organization. You encourage students to go on a social media and make an impact and practice with the Facebook Live. You give many examples of the organizations who have not changed and had to die. And the most important thing, what I liked in your presentation was that you connected the technical and non-technical skills so beautifully, where the technology and the regulations is changing our profession significantly. And you brought those together, one slide of this and another of this, so beautifully it ran through, and it was a great flow. Thank you so much. I would ask Ranganathan ji that, sorry, are there any questions for Amit ji to be answered?
No, he has covered all the questions. In fact, I did not post him many appreciative messages that have come from so many people that I must say that you really connect yourself well with people, and maybe therefore you are a very successful anchor, that your programs are also such a super hit. So do keep visiting ICAI, do keep doing programs for us. All these chartered accountants will be having a career of 35 to 40 years, and I'm sure it will keep them in very good stead as they're entering the corporate world. Thank you so very much. See you, Amit Arora.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. It's been an honor. Thank you very much.
When Chairman Sir C. Hansraj Sir was discussing on the faculties, he said that, this program cannot happen if C. Amit Arora ji is not available. If he says that he is not available in this week, then we may have to shuffle it a bit. So it's great that you had time in this week and you have been able to give your 120 minutes to this audience. Our great young professionals. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Students, yesterday our chairman, Hansraj ji, and our vice chairman, C. Durgesh Kabra ji, talked to us and told us about how the clarity in thoughts, that how having those strong beliefs will make you successful. So couple of statements on the thoughts which they shared yesterday, and also by our speaker, C. Amit ji, that nothing is more convincing than your own beliefs. We believe that introspection unearths genuine self-knowledge. Unfortunately, introspection is in large part fabrication. Be all the most critical with yourself. Regard your internal observations with the same skepticism as claims from some random person. Become your own toughest critic. Remember that, become your own toughest critic. And that was also the message being flowing in the presentation of Amit ji. Now, we move on to our second session of 60 minutes by a very senior professional, CA Anand Soni, who is based out of Dubai, UAE. He is a very influential person on this LinkedIn. Yesterday, when we finished our presentation, I received many requests from you on LinkedIn, and I think I have accepted most of it, or almost every request I have accepted. And I would like to share that, many times you have been asking that we don't consider ourselves to be a good communicator or having a confidence. I would say that taking a step is a demonstration of having a confidence. I know many students who have passed out recently, they have maxed out their connections on LinkedIn. So therefore, do not hesitate when you wish to make or show a difference through a social media or LinkedIn profile, because that's a powerful tool for you to learn and engage to make a difference. Engagement, as you engage today on Twitter, that's a powerful way to make a difference. So go ahead and keep your confidence high. So CA Anand Soni is a member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India and also CPA USA. He is a seasoned senior finance and commercial professional with 28 years of multi-dimensional experience in managing group financial, commercial, and business affairs of diverse business units in local and international markets across manufacturing, contracting, construction, petroleum and refinery, property and real estate, retail, trading, FMCG, e-commerce, hospitality, investment, stock brokerage business units. He is also a corporate trainer from financial consultant. I know CA Anand from past many years, and on the technical skills, the topic he will be taking, managerial and business skills. He is one of the most invited speakers, and some of his talks spread over the world, and many in USA have been the most watched talks. One of the top watched talks he has done. We are glad that he is here with us to share his thoughts on the topic for the next 60 minutes. And virtually, from wherever you are, help me welcome him with a round of applause. It may not reach here, but just welcome him from wherever you are. A virtual round of applause for him. So, CA Anand Soni, the floor is yours. Thank you. Thank you for being with us here.
Thank you, Prabjit. I hope I'm visible and I'm audible, Prabjit.
Yes,
can you see me?
Yes, all perfect. Yes.
Great. So, thank you. Let me first thank the chairman, CA Hansraj Chugji, and the vice chairman, CA Dugesh Kabraji of the CMIB committee. And it's a great initiative, actually, for the fresh chartered accountants for the first time. So congratulations to both of you, the chairman and the vice chairman, for inviting me. And thank you, my friend, to you, Prabdeep, for inviting me. It's really a pleasure and honor.
Sorry, your voice has gone, Anand.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now it's okay. I think in between there was some problem. Now it's fine.
Now it is okay.
Is it audible now?
Yes, now it's fine.
Yes, it is fine now.
Okay. So, I mean, if I was not heard earlier, I would start again. Could I?
No, you were heard when you thanked. I think when you started on the subject, the voice went. Earlier, for a couple of minutes, we heard you.
No worry. So let me just set some standard operating procedures for the next 60 minutes. First, there is no presentation, there's no slides. It's only me and you. That's one. Two, I'm going to speak from my head and heart, because the topic of business and managerial skills is not something which I can really relate via slides. And it's something which you require at your work. And at work, you succeed when you use your heart and you use your head, both. All right. So bear in mind, it will be Anand speaking from his head and heart. That's rule number one. Rule number two, you will have, I will be giving you some questions, interactive session. So you think, that's the second. And I hope that by the time we finish this session, the two key deliverables which probably you should have is a little bit better understanding about the business, managerial, technical skills, and more so what you need post the COVID times, the new skill sets which you require if you want to make a career in industry. Okay, so that's the first. Second, rather than restricting yourself to preparing for the interview, I must, and I think it's important for me to take you through some nuances of how the corporate world works. So that when you pick up your first job and the first 5-10 years, you keep remembering me. So friends, two deliverables, I hope you get it as we come to the end. Making yourself prepared for the interview and then giving you a better horizon for the next 5-10 years as you go in your career. So are you all ready? Prabdeep, are you ready? The team is ready. Are you ready, Prabdeep?
Yes, we are ready to go on ride with you.
Right. That sounds like energetic. So enjoy the ride with me for the next 60 minutes. Enjoy the ride. Enjoy the session. So as I mentioned to you before I even jump on business managerial skills, let me just let's talk for a few minutes about what career options you have. And let me say some few plain truth, however hard it may look. Okay? Because remember, I'm speaking from my head and heart, so you expect something not pleasant also from me to hear, but hear it. So what are your career options? Well, sky is the limit, and I mean it. The sky is the limit. So you can make career in hardcore accounting and audit, join a CA firm, Big Four, and then take it from there. So many areas are there now: audit, accounting, tax, mergers, consulting. So many areas. Which one? Then you probably can do what I did. I have spent almost 28 years in industry and handling diversified businesses, contracting, construction, manufacturing, retail, FMCG, distribution, investment. So Prabdeep, give me a business, I will handle. Give me a business, I will handle. So that's the second option you have. Then you have other lines like banks, investment bankers, consultants, and then you have the new lines of digital technology, blockchains, and many finance professionals are going through. So the point I'm driving is you have so many options, but that doesn't mean that you keep trying each and every option. But that also means that you definitely have some time to think through. So don't get clustered by different thoughts. Take your time. Yes, you make a mistake, you own it, you learn it, you move further. All right? So you have various career options, you try and then move forward. Now, I mentioned to you that I'm going to speak some plain truth about how the industry operates, how the corporate world is. This is not to frighten you, but it's time as professionals to have some real-time check on what happens, and which helps you obviously in your interview session if someone asks you, and as you go further in the work, it helps you. So a few things as you step in your career. First, you may get an offer, of good offer, I would suggest, but do have a boss, do have a superior who's from your line, a technically superior who knows better than you. A superior who is better than you, friends, is the one who can, grill you, who can scold you, who can be friend to you, who can be a mentor, but you learn a lot from him, right? And you need the first 5 to 10 years of your career is a solid learning, and you should not miss it. So take it easy. Let's not rush things. Okay? The baby takes 9 months to come out. Rome was not built in a day, right? So take your time. Take step by step. That's the first thing. Point 2, be always on the learning path. Be always on the learning. And as I keep saying, learn, unlearn, relearn, and learn. I repeat, learn, unlearn, relearn, and learn. And you think am I contradicting myself? Learn, unlearn, relearn, and learn. I'm going to give you, say, 20 seconds. Think through it. Am I contradicting when I'm saying this thing? So your time starts now. Well. I'm sure some of you would have found it pretty confusing. Learn, unlearn, relearn, and learn. But as I said, I speak from my head and I'm speaking from my heart. So let me communicate what I mean by this. You have something in your mind you believe, you know. But for you to know more, you need to first be ready to unlearn. You should be ready. It doesn't mean that you necessarily have to unlearn, but you should be ready. You should be ready to unlearn. That makes you ready to relearn new things. For example, in your CA days, in your articleship days, if you felt that the moment I become a chartered accountant, I won the world, that was one learning. But is that the fact? It may not be. The fact is, you are starting a second innings. And the second innings is completely different from the first innings. For you to accept that, you need to unlearn that fact. And then only you are ready to start learning new things. And that's where the process of relearn comes in. And then again, go back to learn. So you have learn, unlearn, relearn, and learn. One of the things which I remember when I qualified, and that was in early 90s, so many years back now. And I cleared my final CA in the first attempt. And actually my articleship got over later. And in those days, you could attempt the final C exam. I was doing industrial training and I cleared. So I felt I have won the world. Can you believe I felt I won the world? Yeah? But that was not the case. And you know what blunders I made? Since I had cleared my CA in the first attempt, I got a couple of interview calls from banks like Citibank. I remember I was in Bombay those days, and I got a call from ANZ at Greenlace Bank. What did I do? Can you think? Did I make a mess of it? Did I succeed? Or I became completely clueless? What do you think? Well, you're right. You're wrong both. You're right, my friend, but you're wrong too. I was clueless, but not completely, because I did go for the interviews, both for Citibank, both for Greenlace Bank. But then what happened? It was the overconfidence, the feeling that I have won the world, that costed me. And can you believe I was told in the interview by one of the banks, it seems, Anand, you have come completely unprepared. We are too confident. The point I'm driving, my friends, the new chartered accountants, the fresh qualified chartered accountants, you need to just be confident at the interview. Just be confident, be prepared, not be overconfident. Don't take it easy. Second chance never comes sometimes, you know. And why I was, as Prabdeep says, clueless, which was not the case though, because I did not have the right understanding. We didn't have those, ways to understand. So I made a mess, right? Then in the first 5-10 years, as I keep repeating, learning, and then always try to know more and more about a particular subject, that didn't happen. So the few lessons which you should remember for your corporate life as you go forward. You should learn, keep learning attitude, try to go for a superior who's technically superior to you. Even if you get a position, higher position, but if you are reporting to someone who is not from your function, I would strongly urge that the first 10 to 12 to 15 years of your career, you should be having a superior who is better than you, all right? And then the last point, which I think so important as a plain truth, is the self-belief. Now, people who believe that self-belief is something, a bookish concept, I don't agree with that. I don't agree. Self-belief is not a bookish concept. A self-belief is something where you believe in yourself, and if you believe in yourself, folks, no one can take your self-belief unless you allow it to be taken by others. No one can take your self-belief unless you allow it to be taken by others. Does it mean that I'm saying that you should be arrogant? No, not exactly. You can be as kind, you can be as humane, you can be as down to the earth, yet you can have complete self-belief. Because remember, no one can take your self-belief unless you allow it to be taken by others. So I'm going to give you another 35 seconds this time to just mull over what I just said. Self-belief is something which no one can take away unless you allow it to be taken by others. And yet you are not arrogant. And yet you're not arrogant. So think through it. Here starts your 35 seconds. Friends, the practical solution, the practical truth is that when I say you have self-belief but not arrogant, it simply means that you do recognize people who are better than you. You are willing to learn. You do respect people for the knowledge, experience, and the position they hold. But you know that you equally are capable. You know you're equally capable. And there is no reason why you can't reach that level. There is no reason why you can't reach that level. That's your self-belief. It has nothing to do with age. It has nothing to do with experience. And it has nothing to do whether you're a 5-year-old child or whether you're a 75-year-old man. That's the truth. And I'm so convinced on this. And this brings to the last part before I jump on the business and the managerial skills. Do remember in your career a sad but an unpleasant truth that I'm going to share with you. Wherever you are in life, good, bad, on a professional front, on a social front, you and you alone are responsible. You and you alone are responsible. Success has many fathers, failure has none. And the moment, if you can understand, and again, this is not doctrine, this is not, I don't believe in giving dogmatic teachings. This is something which is pretty practical. Textbooks may tell you, may not tell you. But the early you understand, and the early you imbibe these things, that you alone are responsible for wherever you are, from wherever you are, my friends, in life, whether it is personal, social, professional, health, you alone are responsible. That's the reality. It's the blunt truth. I promise I'm going to speak from my head and heart. I promised you that, didn't I? I'm speaking from my head and heart. Right? With the two objectives of making you prepared for the interview and the first 10 years. So Don't blame others. If you don't do well in your career, you alone are responsible. So these are few blunt lessons, truths which I've mentioned, and I hope you like it. Yes,
Yeah,
Prabhu.
Anand, we had two questions.
Yes.
How there is a very common question that, in brief, if you can tell that how to prepare for interview, so that it's easy for participants to take steps for the preparation. And second thing is how can we work on our self-belief, that how we can make it stronger.
Yeah, I'll answer the second one first because the second answer flows through the first one. You build through a self-belief, something which I've mentioned. Always have the learning attitude. Keep learning new things. Don't be arrogant. And have that faith. And don't treat it as a bookish concept, right? People unfortunately consider Prabdeep self-belief like a bookish concept. No, it is not. And you keep taking new challenges. The more you confront the situation, confront the fear, as they say, combat the fear, tackle the fear as it is. The moment you face the fear, half the battle is won. And the next way you win the self-belief is when you don't judge every of your action by end result, whether it is going to result into success or failure. Because if you start equating everything what you do, whether you have been successful or failure, you are self-judging yourself. And you should not. You made a mistake, you didn't succeed, take the next step. If 10 steps haven't worked, take the 11th step. This particular mindset, if you go for an interview, that will help you. So you have certain questions if you don't understand, but if you have the self-belief, you will find a solution. And don't forget one thing, life is not a perfect answer. You have sometimes midway solutions, sometimes imperfect solutions, sometimes half-baked solutions. So be it. So if you're ready to have half-baked solutions, have a solution mind, ready to learn new things, face the fear, combat the fear. You have the self-belief, which is what is the first requirement for you to go for an interview. I hope it helps. Yeah. So let me now get on with the business and the managerial skills. I've also added the technical skills, Prabdeep, because I felt that it is important that the chartered accountant understand the difference between business, managerial, and technical skills. So that's a new addition which I have done. So friends, there are three broad skills you have: business, managerial, and technical. Now, the business is something which is you require, which helps you in understanding a business. Three of the models which I mentioned you: construction, contracting, trading. So you need to first understand those business models. How is a trading business different from a construction business? How is a construction business different from a, contracting business? But specific to you and for your interview purpose, the business skills would mean more from the financial and commercial perspective. For example, let's talk of, I'm sure you had the costing paper. So you have the pricing which is being worked out in a costing paper. Now the costing which you work out, there are concepts like minimum variable pricing model. Now, if I'm in the interview panel and you say you have done exceptionally well in costing, here is going to be my question to you to test your business skills in costing. What is going to be my question? Tell me, if your business model is manufacturing and your revenue is under stress, as a chartered accountant, what sort of business skill you will be suggesting to increase the top line? Now, if you understand how a manufacturing business works, there are fixed costs and there are variable costs, in which situation you would suggest a minimum variable pricing model, which allows you to recover your variable cost and fixed costs are taken care. So your gross margins go down, but that gives you the room for bidding new jobs. Now, you can answer this question if you understand what is a manufacturing business. So a little bit going deep dive, understand what is a manufacturing business, which will help you in the interview when you go for ask this question. Another example could be for a trading business. Now, typically in a trading business, with this COVID coming up, you have online sales, you have e-commerces. Many of the showrooms are now getting closed, but you still have the showroom and the distribution concept in the retail. Now, here's my question to you for the interview to test your business skills. And I tell you, look, in the COVID times, you have a trading business. and you have showrooms, and you have distribution centers. Now, what do you think? When should you close down a retail showroom, and when should you close down a distribution center? Now, here is the technical understanding of a trading business. A retail business is when you are selling the goods from business to business, which is known as B2B. And distribution is when you go from B to C, health sector, medicines, where you supply the medicine directly to the consumers, right? So if I'm in the interview, here is going to be my answer. Sir, if the trading business has B to C, like health sectors, medicines, then I would look at the distribution channels. But if it is going to be interior fit out, furniture businesses, showroom, I would probably go for B2B, right? And then I would give my decision. So there are a few examples which you need to get through to understand nuances, and I'm sure you will be in the confidence to face these questions if it comes in the interview. Now, what are the managerial skills? Now, I'm sure, by the way, let me put a 5-10 second question to you. Do you feel there is a difference, my friend, between a managerial skill and a business skill? Or they are synonymous? Or they are one and the same? 10 seconds, time starts now. Of course, there is a difference. Otherwise, the institute wouldn't have made the topic as business and managerial skills. So definitely there is a difference between a business skill and a managerial skill. What is a managerial skill?
Amit, can I ask you one question?
Yes, sure.
We have come. You have been talking about different industries and how to solve certain issues. So here a question has come that if I'm an auditor, and I go to a client and I take out different issues at the client's place. Now the question being is asked is that if I'm not an auditor, actually I'm a client, then how I would resolve those issues which the auditor has taken out. So what will be my response? So the sides are being changed. Me being an auditor have taken out certain issues, but if I'm not an auditor, but a client actually, and those issues some other auditor has taken out, then what will I do as a client?
There are two issues. Normally, the way I have seen it from the auditors, most of the time the questions are pertaining to the financial statements, whether the standards have been followed, the guidance notes have been ensured, whether the books are reflecting a true and fair view. And obviously, you need to look into this. That's the first answer. However, I have also seen in my experience, sometimes the auditors do pinpoint the aspects of the business. And if it comes through, you need to look at. But invariably, the auditors, the jobs is more from the financial, true and fair of the financial statements rather than on the business. And at times, many of the times I've seen the auditors coming up with certain observations which you as a business, like I'm running the business as a group CFO, right? Auditors may have a view, but I know my business well. So I have even gone and told many times to the auditor, look, friend, I know my business well. I respect what you're saying, but hold on. I know my business well. So it has to be a case-to-case basis. If the auditors suggest you something on business, but auditors are the experts on the financial statements, true and fair, and that is where you definitely got to listen to them. I hope it helps.
Yes, mostly. When the auditors are doing the balance sheet audit and there are issues, so certainly the client will have to resolve. But I've seen, as you said, that, sometimes auditors suggest about business skills also, because auditors also want to show their value. So there are many large audit firms, who come up with the special executive reports, like an extension of a management letter, as you said. And then those 10 points may be suggested in that, where you as a client may like to, because the others 8, you may know that, okay, they may be there, but that's not the way to run a business. As you said that, okay, I know how to run a business. So those kind of things will come up.
Yeah, I mean, don't discount what they're saying. Don't discount.
Yeah.
But take it with a pinch of salt when they suggest you in the business, because ultimately you know your business. So they may very well suggest they're right. But you have
Yeah.
a right to overrule them when it comes to business, so long as it doesn't impact the financial statements. I think
Yeah.
this line is very important. Otherwise, auditors will be running the business. Then you are not running the business. Auditors are not running the business. I think we need to respect that. Yeah?
Yes.
All right. So let me go back to the managerial skills. So managerial skill, if you really ask me, is how you deal with people. How do you deal with people? How do you manage the situation? It's completely different than the business skills. Now, who are your people? Who are your people, my friends? Who are your people when you are in business? I know you haven't worked, but you have been through your articleship. I'm sure you can make some guesses. Your people can be when you work in a corporate, your finance team, your sales team, your production team, maybe your board. And what are your external people? Could be banks, lawyers, auditors. Even if I'm dealing with you, even I am your external stakeholder. Even our friend Prabdeep will also be your external stakeholder. All right? Now, how do you deal with them? How do you deal with them is the managerial skills. As you will grow further in your career, you will have people under you too. How do you deal with the people who are under you? How do you deal with the people who are over you? How do you deal with your boss? That's where, and how do you deal with your external people to get a job done? And that's what I mean by managerial skills. So important. Now, if I'm an interviewer, and I have asked this question to many new recruits. When I keep recruiting people, I ask them this question. And I'm going to ask this question to our chartered accountants also.
Yeah.
I hire you, right? I hire you. And in the interview, I tell you, you're going to do audit, you're going to do bank, you're going to be involving in banks, XYZ. And after 45 days, you join me. Think it's a dynamic world. Things change. You join the first day, Prabdeep, you join the first day, and you meet me, I'm your boss, you meet me, and I said, look, David, yeah, I told you, you will be involved in audit. I remember. Yeah, yes, I remember. Then David tells me, Anand, you told me, sir, I will be involved in banks also. Yes, David, I do remember. I am not running into amnesia, my friend. I do remember. But things have changed, David. It's COVID times. Things have changed. So you say, David, what I want you to do is, we will look at audit and banks later. Look into audit and banks later. There's a serious problem on the cash management in one of my branches. I want you to go and tackle there. There's some reconciliation issue. Don't look at anything else. First finish that. And my friend, you have a shock of your mind because you are a fresh qualified chartered accountant. And you say, look, how's this? I was supposed to do all these works. Now, this requires some sort of managerial skills. And if you are in the interview and if you are asked this specific question, this should be your answer. Yes, Anand, I do remember you mentioned to me, but I am willing to take challenges. Have a patience with me. And if you want me to go to a branch to manage the cash reconciliations, I will do it. I will do it. I'm willing to take any challenge. I'm willing to combat my fear. I have no problems. Now, what you're communicating, Prabdeep, when you communicate this in the interview is, you are giving a very clear message to the interviewer that not only you have self-belief, you are ready to face even a catastrophic situation.
Right.
And this brings to what the skill sets which are required now in the post-COVID times, which I ask when I interview people, and I look for some different skills in the candidate than when I was hiring a year back. Today, I expect a new chartered accountant, if he comes and works under me, that he should be ready to face an uncertainty. He should be knowing that the things may not go as per plan. And that's where his own skills to manage the situation comes through. That's what
here
the way managerial skills. Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. Here I want to ask, these COVIDs are the issue. No one had expected it, and the internal audit becomes a critical challenge. Here there is a clarification on a question which I asked. That was asked by Gobind, and he is saying that, that was the question asked to him, not in external audit, but internal audit. So therefore, many times I have seen that when internal auditors work, they may give the suggestions, but they may not give sufficient recommendations. Or sufficient recommendations they may give, but the client may say that, no, I understand the business and it has to be done in this way. Right. So if we can answer the question, his question, that in internal audit, if we take out certain issues, how we can also answer that if issues are taken out, how we will be resolving it, so that he's prepared for it.
My answer won't be different than what I answered first. Only thing is, if it's a concurrent internal audit, many companies have a concurrent internal audit. Many companies I have seen in one of few of my organizations, they had internal team in-house, or they can be external team also. Regardless whether it's a concurrent audit or it's an internal in-house team or it's an external team, the bottom line is clear, Prabdeep.
Yes.
Internal auditors, again, they don't run the business. They don't run the business. Having said that, please definitely do look at the recommendations. Do look at the recommendations. If the recommendations are pertaining to your financial statements in terms of control, in terms of accuracy, true and fair of the financial statements, definitely look at it. But if those are pertaining to business, I'm not saying don't look at it, but I go back to the same thing what I said. You run the business. You are the businessman. You are it. So listen to them, but then by all means have the courage and the conviction to tell the internal auditors, look, we know the business, we respect. Keep giving us suggestions. Yeah. Whatever we find interesting, we'll implement.
Yeah, before you go into your next topic, 2 questions we have. Let us finish those. Dharma is asking how to choose between practice and employment.
Well, it gets to the starting point when I said your various options. Your various options, Prabdeep. And one thing I've seen, the younger chartered accountant, not only chartered accountants, any professional for that matter, youngsters, they seem to be in a hurry. They seem to be in a hurry, unfortunately.
Right.
Whether you're, whichever profession you are, right? And I keep telling my son also same thing, that look, patience. Same here to the lady who asked me. It's too early. And if you're not in the position to decide now, so be it. So be it. So you have to take some decisions. Now, whether you like practice, you might have seen that in your articleship to a certain extent. If you've done industrial training, probably you would have seen something of the industry too. But those are still minuscule if you really look at and for you to take a decision. So my answer would be, you appear for the interviews, go by a gut feel. If you think you like practice, go for it right now. If that's what your love is at the moment. After 1 year, after 2 years, if you feel no, you don't want to practice, probably you may decide I want to do an MBA, go for it. Or you may decide after 2 years, look, I want to go for employment with industry, go for it. So the answer is, at this time, when the people have just qualified a couple of months back from the examination, let them not too much clutter their mind, confuse themselves with what is the right, what is the wrong answer. There's nothing like the right. There's nothing like the wrong. Take a chance. You have a long way to go. You have a long way to go.
Yeah, I think 6 months, 1 year, whatever decision we take, we can always change it because that's not a long period if we are not liking it.
Yeah, I mean, but the problem, Prabdeep, I mean, it happened with me in those days. So many people, you talk to 100 people will give you 100 advices. Somewhere you have to draw the line and move forward. Yeah.
Right.
You have to move forward.
Yeah. Yes, Srishti is asking how to deal with very polished diplomatic seniors.
Looks like she has dealt with this in the articleship, looks like. Otherwise, this is, I'm impressed with the question, no doubt, my friend. But yeah, what is it? Polished diplomatic senior. So there are 2 adjectives, I guess she's using, polished and diplomatic. Yeah. Let me think, polished plus diplomatic. What does that lead to? Okay,
and
here's the
how
answer.
To deal with such situations. How to deal with such.
Okay, here's the answer. Here's the answer. What's the name of the? I didn't get the name.
Srishti.
Here's the answer for your Srishti. There's one thing which will always work. Wherever you work, Srishti, it will work. You work in practice, you work in full-time employment, it will work. Now, what is that one thing which will work every time? The one thing which will work is, if you really add value to what you are doing to your superior. And I'm very cautiously using each and every word here. If you add value to your superior, whether you are in practice, whether you're in employment, anywhere, which means if your superior starts believing that he or she requires you, and he and she requires you not because of your personal liking or disliking, he or she likes you because you're helping them in their professional work. So one thing which I've seen always works, when you really contribute, and I've seen probably people, even if they are accountants and they have layers above them, and then they come to me as a group CFO, but I've seen them, even accountants, when I find them value, what happens? I start calling them. Because as a group CFO, my job is to get the job done. And I find someone who's going to help me, half the battle won. So when you have polished, diplomatic seniors, superiors, as Shrishti says, my answer is very straight. Work hard, create value for them. That is the starting medicine. Yes, I can give you course of further antibiotics too. That's not required for the moment. For the moment, for your interview purpose, if someone asks you this question, you should be confidently saying that my answer is, even if I have a polished diplomatic senior or superior, I would handle by adding real value to it. Now the problem is, Prabdeep, it's easy to say to add value, but that you have to work very hard.
Right.
You have to work hard.
She has two extended questions regarding how to enter fintech or a functional consultant roles. So we have a technology expert coming tomorrow, but if you would like to give any views on consultant roles, functional consultant roles.
Which area she's looking at?
Fintech, first she said, then SAP implementation, robotics, system audit, such roles.
Well, if you're looking at some sort of role in robotics, digital transformations, digitization, yes, that's a new line. That's a new line post-COVID. But I would say with a pinch of salt and with a caveat. What's the name of this? Same Shrishti, right?
Yeah, Shrishti. She is the most active. She also asked how to be a radio jockey. Also,
I will answer that question too. No worry, she can throw at as many questions as she wants.
That has been answered.
All right. So going back, Shrishti, yes, digital transformation, digitization are the buzzwords, but should you make that as a career at the starting point? Well, I'm going to be more skeptical on this because, you will have a lot of people who are core specialists, machine learning experts, data analytics. So if you really ask me, it can be as only a byproduct. You need to work on your technical expertise, which you have learned during your articleship and your exams to start your career. It's like, I'll give you a cricket example just to drive the point, so that it makes sense to you. When Ravi Shastri joined the cricket Prabdeep in 1981, he was picked as a bowler, right? If you remember in Wellington when he was called way back in 1981, he took the challenge. Yeah. And he started his career as a bowler and came to bat at number 10. Do you believe? He accepted that because that was his core technical expertise. From there, he went out and then became an opener. So answer to you, Shrishti, should be look at your first career point as your technical expertise because that gives you confidence in the interview, right? These new areas can come as a byproduct, not as the main product.
Yeah. So basically she is saying functional consultant. That's what she is saying. Normal functional. I think those who implement ERPs and those many I have seen chartered accountants starting their career with that.
Well, I'm just saying from my experience, not a bad line. I started saying every line has a scope. Every line has a scope. But much will depend. The mistake which the young chartered accountant should not make is to go by the herd mentality. That's the word I'm using, the herd mentality. What works for A will work for me too. No, I don't agree. What works for B will work for C. I don't agree. You need to hear, as I mentioned, you do hear from others, but take your informed decision based on in your context. What works for me, Prabdeep, may not work for you, may not work for Amit Arora, and may work for someone else. I think we need to recognize that. This is one part.
Yeah.
I would strongly urge the new chartered accountants not to go by the herd mentality. Not to go by the herd mentality. Yeah. Okay. So let's get to the technical skills now. Now I know it was not the subject, but I felt it is important for me to also give you a little input, because you can expect
we
in
have,
the interview.
yeah, we have some questions on technical skills, largely new technology. So once you finish your briefing, then I'll ask you those.
Yeah. The technical skills is again a different ball game, comparing to the managerial skills, comparing to the business skills. Now, technical skills for you, the new chartered accountants, would mean at this stage, what are your core expertise? And I will give you a little bit more on what can be the future technical expertise. At this moment, your accounting, your audit, your compliance, your tax, your laws, and to an extent, if you have handled digital initiatives, that is a technical expertise as we speak, based on your articleship, based on your industrial training, and based on your examinations.
Right.
But if I'm the interviewer, here is my question to you in the interview, testing your testing skills. And I'm going to ask you, okay, these are our technical skills. I know this. What further technical skills do you bring to me if I hire you? And what I'm going to answer, 10 seconds for you to think. What is your answer? What new technical skills you will bring to you? Because remember, I'm not going to hire you for 2 months. I'm going to hire you for years. I must know what further technical skills you are going to bring on the table. So here starts your 10 seconds before I jump and answer you. Yeah, here it is. If I'm in the interviews, and this is going to be my answer, I'm going to say, look, I appreciate that you have recognized my current technical skills based on my industrial training, articleship, and examination. I look forward to contribute in a big time in funding, managing banks, and managing diverse different businesses, because I feel my technical expertise, which I have picked up from my examination and industrial training, I would be the right person to manage different businesses, different pricing models, different financial strategies, and banks. And I'm a good negotiator because I know myself well. Therefore, I will be able to handle banks, lawyers, contractual issues. Because of my being a good negotiator, I believe these are the new technical skills which I'm going to bring to you as my employer. And trust me, this answer will work. This answer will work. Moving forward, as you go further in your career, 5 years, 10 years down the line, you keep learning technical skills. Technical skills are not business skills. Technical skills are not managerial skills. For a cricket opener, your technical skills have to be a very good opener, and then you become an opener. So always be conscious of technical skills. Yes, Prabhat, you wanted to ask something.
Yeah. Yes. So, this question has been asked many times. So Neha
Yes.
has put it again, because I think this is there in the mind of many students, that how easy or difficult it is to get a job in Big Four. See, if you can briefly in a minute give your views, and we will answer this question every day, I believe. So your views, if you can.
How do you get a job in the Big Four? Well,
Yeah.
first is the historical answer. Second is the futuristic answer. Historically, if you have worked for if you had an industrial training, and if your industrial training is the Big Four, or else if you have been an audit firm in a Big Four, that's a stepping stone, because that's an automatic entry. That's a historic answer. So if you have your articleship or industrial training, leverage it. It's an easy route.
Right.
Second, well, if you are a rank holder, it helps. I mean, these firms do recognize it. Now, take the worst case. You don't fall into any of those two categories. Then what do you do next? Well, here's the answer. I think you need to a little bit prepare better, more smarter, and many of the things which you may not have done so far, many of the things which I've explained you on your technical, managerial, business skills, you probably have to tell them that why they should hire you, not on the basis of what you have done in your examination, not on the basis of what you have learned, what you can add value. For example, you can very well say to one of the Big Four firms that, look, I'm going to play a big role because you have diversified business clients. I know your audit line is probably full. You have the management consulting division, and I understand as a Big Four firms, you have so many different clients. I'm going to take up and I'm going to deal with your clients in construction businesses. I'm going to deal with your clients in contracting companies. I'm going to deal with the clients from trading companies and bring those business examples which I explained in the first half an hour, which will make the hiring manager understand that there's a value coming for the future. Don't forget one thing, friends, people hire you not only for your past, what you have done, people hire you for what you are going to bring to them in the next 1 or 2 years horizon as you step in. And this is something which is across the board. I hope it helps.
Yeah, as you said management consulting. Similar thing, question is there from Pooja. She is saying that
Yes.
if there is an opportunity on business valuation, then what may be your suggestions? Though we have our last session on business valuations, but if you can also quickly in 30 seconds share your views
Not a bad
on
line,
this.
not a bad line, but then where do we go from there? I mean, where do we go from there? Because business valuation is a very specialist area, and according to me, a very specialist area. So if you really are keen on it, become a specialist. But I suspect that over a span of time, if you really have to become a business valuation specialist, you probably may need to do some other qualification too, I guess. Not immediately, sometime later. And it's a little tricky. I mean, I wouldn't suggest anyone to straight away go into business valuation because it comes as a byproduct for me. This is my answer.
Right. Anmi is asking that how robotics and AI will impact our career opportunities.
You want a blunt answer? I mentioned to you, I'm going to speak from my head and heart. Here's my answer. It's a tough time. It's a tough time because not only will you be expected as you go further to be more digitally and tech savvy, you are going to run a risk of jobs being cut off, less jobs, and you have to live with that and find a solution. Yes, of course, your having the technical expertise in these areas help. But again, as someone asked me initially also, that I am not in favor of as a chartered accountant, making career in robotics or AI, because the competition is going to be very tough from the other professionals who have a better understanding on these matters. So these are again going to be byproducts, but conceptually, these are, when you do your SWOT analysis, as a chartered accountant, you have to have a reasonable good technical expertise in these areas, which you need to keep building it.
Yeah, Nafis is asking on blockchain. So I think the answer may be quite same.
Well, I won't be in the position to answer a technical on the blockchain. I'm not a blockchain expert, but if someone is thinking of a career in blockchain,
I think we can get this answer tomorrow, Nafis, for you. So, and there is a Dharma is asking some tips on entrepreneur skills.
Tips on entrepreneur skills. Well, I think the broad tips don't change, my friend. Broad tips won't change, which I initially mentioned, self-belief, learning. But there are a couple of skills which I think you need to be more aware of. Entrepreneurship does require a natural flair for networking, all right? Not everyone is cut out for networking. You need to understand that. It does require ability to take risks as an entrepreneur. It does require ability to face setbacks. Do you have it? You know better. I don't know. You know better yourself than me. If you have it and your gut feel says, I want to become an entrepreneur, go for it, my friend. Go for it. I've always been saying that don't get clustered. Don't get bogged and clogged by ifs and buts. If you feel for it, go for it. Do what you feel you're good at. That's the half stage. That's where you have covered half the distance to the success. You covered half the distance when you believe and do what you feel like doing. That's my answer.
Yeah, we have many questions, but we have a counter question from Shrishti that if you are saying that technology and business valuation you feel is a byproduct, then what you do now? If most of the things you are saying are byproduct.
No, I didn't mention that. Look, the facts have to be accepted. It's a dynamic world. Things are different. Things are moving every now and then. Businesses are changing. Businesses are surviving. So we need to accept the harsh reality too. Right?
Yeah.
I'm speaking from head and heart, I mentioned. So here's the deal. What I mentioned was, generally, these are byproducts. Now, if you want to make a career in valuations, digitization, blockchains, go for it. Go for it. Take a look at it. But my gut feel says that after some time, you will start feeling that you need something more than that, because you have other professionals in that area only, right? So if you want to be a successful data scientist, a machine learning expert. Those are the key areas which are coming up. Then you better be prepared to upgrade your skills. You have to be constantly upgrading your skills. And if you're ready for it, by all means go for it. By all means go for it. And that is something which one has to take a calculative call, whether you have in you to learn, enhance your skills. But yes, on the face of it, if someone asks me, I would still say, look, it's a byproduct, but you can't avoid it. Look for it. If you think that's the way, maybe after 2 years you change lines. Doesn't make a difference. You can change lines after 2 years and make that as a full-time main line for you.
Right. There are some questions, I think, by Govind on tax consultancy and one more question on transfer pricing. This we will take tomorrow. I would like to ask a question. Supriya is asking, what's your view on fraud detection and forensic investigation?
I never faced anything, so I have no direct experience of it. Neither I've been in the audit area. I've been a hardcore industry guy handling diversified businesses. Well, I don't think
we can answer this, I think, tomorrow. I believe we have.
I'm more a business guy, so business, managerial skills, how to make businesses profitable. I'm that guy. I love businesses. Yeah.
Right.
I'm from the other side of the
Rohit is asking if anyone passes in 18 attempts, then how to convince, like how to make a difference or show the difference or show the potential.
If I am interviewing, I'll pick you up, my Rohit. Rohit, I'll pick you up if I'm the interviewer. You know why I'm going to pick you up? Can you guess why I'm going to pick you? I'm going to pick you up simply because you took 18 attempts and still kept fighting. That shows how strong you are. And that brings to the very first 5 minutes I said, unless you allow your self-belief to be taken by someone, no one can take your self-belief. If you believe by taking an 18 attempts, you have done a mistake and you feel small in your own eyes, that's your problem, not the problem of the interviewer. But if you believe that after 18 years too, I am a champion, you are a champion. What you believe you are. And this is not an arrogance. It is the way the things happen, practically.
Yeah, Rohit agrees that never give up. And he has heard you.
I mean, it's not a philosophical concept. People have to believe it, I keep saying to every of my team, if you have failed 100 times, take the 101st step. You are accountable for yourself. No one knows your journey. People have no time to think, what is your journey? So it's you who are accountable. Wherever you are in life, you are responsible, whether you are successful or not. So you need to take charge of your life. Take charge of your career, my friend.
Yeah, we have just 3 minutes left and I will ask you last question.
Yes.
About career opportunities abroad. Your views on that. Akshara is asking.
Well, things are a little tricky earlier what used to happen, but it's a good option. It's a good option if you're aware of if you want to do it. And if you want, go for it, but you have to pick up which countries are looking at it. For example, I'll give you the UAE example. And I'm going to be speaking from my head and heart, however unpleasant or blunt it looks like. If you are going to be in the Middle East, and if you ask me, why did I do a CPA? I did my CA in 1991. And then in 2003, I did my CPA. Why? Why did I do it? Because I realized after coming to Middle East in 98 that, and this is my view, that a simple CA may not be sufficient. So I did CPA, right? And I have so many friends in UAE who have done second or third qualification, CFA or all this. So these are the facts which you need to recognize. This is my view. That many of the overseas countries do expect one or two more qualifications. Sometimes if you go to Australia, they probably will ask you to do a CPA Australia. Now these are the facts. So some local skills you may be required to have. And then you need to be in the position to blend with the life there. But again, a good option, no harm. If you think this is what you're looking at, go for it. But what mistake you should not be making is because you have some preconceived notions, X went to that place, he's earning well, he's very comfortable, so I should go for it. Take an informed decision. If it proves right, good for you. If it doesn't prove right, nothing has happened. Take the next step. Take the course correction. Take the course correction. Yeah.
We have many publications, so we will send a note to the students on those publications regarding this question. Thank you so much.
I have only one last punchline for my friend,
Yeah.
which is very important. Otherwise, I don't think I always so strongly believe in those four P's, Prabdeep, and I think
Yes.
it's very important. What are those four P's? There are four P's: patience, persistence, passion,
Yeah.
perseverance. Patience, passion, persistence, perseverance. These are four P's. Again, these are not dogmatic. These
Right.
are my practical experiences. Wherever you are in life, my friend, these four P's will help you. These four P's will indeed help you. Take charge of your life. You're responsible for yourself, no one else. That's where I end up. I hope this session helps you to achieve my two deliverables, which I started 60 minutes back, to make you more prepared for the interviews. I asked you at least 10 questions like an interviewer. I've subjected you so many 10 seconds, 35 seconds, and I've given you some few tips for your first 5 to 10 years of your career. I'm available anytime. You have my WhatsApp number, you have my email address. Give me a shout anytime. I'm there for you all the time. Take care, my friend. Be successful in life. Be happy in life.
Thank you so much. So I would like to share, even though I know you from more than a decade, but I never said that you have a very special voice, mesmerizing voice. Today we had a very sweet voice speakers, both of you.
Thank you so much.
So thank you, and great practical experiences you have shared, which you continuously share on your LinkedIn profile. Thank you so much. And before we close and put a closing thank you note, I would request CA Rajiv Hira, who is one of the faculty for tomorrow, to please come up and share what our young fellows can expect from tomorrow's session. So Rajiv, if you are there and if you
thanks,
can, yes.
Sure. Thanks, Pradip ji, and it's really great to listen to Mr. Anand Soni and the words of wisdom he gave to the young chartered accountants.
Right.
And I'm looking forward for session tomorrow. We're going to talk something very different and something what the numbers talk about. As Anand Soni ji also said, don't only look at what is in front of you, look at beyond what can be understood or can be perceived from those thoughts or those numbers which comes in front of you. So Anand Soni ji has very clearly said, work on your gut feeling, and that I strongly believe on that also. So I think a lot of good takeaways for me also from the session, and I'm very sure the young dynamic chartered accountants who got into the field are going to learn a lot from what happened in today's session, and definitely for next other 5 days also. Thank you, Pradip ji, for that.
Thank you so much, Rajiv. Thank you. Our sincere thanks to our committee chairman, C.A. Hansraj Chugji, our vice chairman, C.A. Durgesh Kabraji, for making this program for everyone this year and creating a new beginning for all of us. We are 2 minutes above from our scheduled time. Thank you all for taking out this time. This is for you. Please be here in a live session. You can always watch recorded sessions, but when you are in a live session, you get opportunity to ask. Many of your questions have been answered today. Ranganathan, sir, is there anything, sir, you wish to say before we close?
No, nothing. Just with older hands. Thank you so very much for your time for a very wonderful session. The summation that about 4 P's, that was really wonderful. That actually summarizes the entire thing. Thank you so very much. And member abroad really brings a lot of pride to the institute. A member like you. Thank you so much, C. Anand Soni.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Prabdeep. Thank you, Rangnath. And thank you, everyone, for this opportunity. And my friends, wish you all the success in life. God bless everyone. Wish you all happiness. You will succeed. I'm confident.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, good night to all of you. Please stay safe. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.